Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Tuesday, August 26, 2025, and it is Testimony Tuesday. We're scheduled to have our former counselor, Tania Fernandes Anderson, with us shortly. Hopefully everything is going well on the tech side. I got my phone here just to be sure everything is good. But my testimony today is that I'm here. We're here. We're live. Looking kind of bright this morning, but we'll adjust that later. Let's go into the Java Cafe in the Instagram section and say good morning to Blitz, to Lisa's, they say they want me to do a show with just pronouncing names. I put a smile on your face. My brother's keeper, 617. What's up to those good bros? Also, Ari, good morning to you. Katrina, good morning. Fitz Gustav, good morning to you. Manny and Andres, good morning to you. Those are the folks over in the Instagram section of the Java Cafe. Let's go into the Facebook section and say good morning to Nisi. Good to see you in the room this morning. Dina, my sister, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Mama Java, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room this morning as always. Sister Debbie, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Mel, what's up, sis? Good. Only a few of us know who Positive Vibes is. And Mel, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Milton, my brother, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Stephanie, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Cousin, good to see you in the room. Hi, Janky. Good to see you in the room this morning. Miss T, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Also, I think I got everybody in the Facebook and also Instagram section. Twitter is a different story. We don't hear from folks over there. Hold on for 1 second. That is the good sister. Hold on. Hold on, everybody. We're handling some tech in the background. Let me see if I could throw a commercial up real quick, and we'll be right back with you. Hold on for 1 second. Let me get a nice long commercial. There's one. Hold on.
I'm a very sensitive person, and I feel the pain of my people. They know me, they call on me, and I assure them that I'm not a provider, but I am one who cares. I always say to them, well, it's better to know than not to know, because if you know, you can do something about it. Think about the loved ones around you. Think about the ones that love seeing you come through that door. Take the step and get tested. That's it.
Save lives and get screened for colon cancer. For more information, visit boston.gov/cancer.
Okay, everybody, we are back. As I thought, there was some technical difficulties on my guest end, and so thank you for your patience. We got it worked out. Thank God for commercials. To some folks that joined, one of the candidates actually for D7 Wawa is on over on Instagram. Also, Brother Rich, good to see you in the room. Joanne, good morning to you. Daniel, DL, when she gets on, she'll let you know it was a tech issue and not you sitting up here shaking your head. Anyway, Tanya will be with us in just a few moments. I got again the phone here all set. Hold on. Why I got okay. I don't want to turn the ringer off just in case she tries to reach back out and make sure that she's good, but she should be with us in just a couple of seconds. Let's go back into the Facebook section. Ray, what's up, brother? One of Boston's male artists, R&B singers, balladers, if you can say such a word, in the room. Dawn, good morning. Good to see you in the room, sis. Good morning to you. Look at, hold on. All right, just making sure that's not her. Centauria, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room this morning. And yes, Miss Teresa, thank God for commercials. We got to get a couple of new ones. Speaking of new commercials, if you're a Black-owned business, if you, would like to advertise on Java with Jimmy, we have some very reasonable rates. We have a nonprofit rate. Let's say that if you have a ticketed event, we have some rates for you as well, because this is a platform that needs support, lights, camera, action. So speaking of commercials, if you have a 15-second commercial, a 30-second commercial, and or a byline and a picture of a flyer, reach out, info@Java with Jimmy, and we'll be glad to work with you within your budget. All right, let me make sure that she is good. You all, if you really know me, me in pre-production and stuff during production. Is interesting. Okay. Hold on. Okay, maybe there was a typo in the email. Let's send it again and make sure that it was undeliverable. Okay, here we go. Boom, boom, boom. If she's anything like me, she is in the midst of trying to get ready too, so I can understand a typo. Oh, shoot. I put her. Oh, I'm not going to another commercial break, y'all. We're going to handle this, and we're going back to 2020 like we were, in 2020. Okay, hold on. Let me get her the link, and she will be with us in just a second. I know there are a lot of people in here wanting to see what Tanya has to say. So, of all days for extra people to be in the Java Cafe, we have some technical difficulties. But anyway, it's Testimony Tuesday. Do me a favor, put one word in the comments that lets us know maybe some things that you're being tested with, and also some things that you intentionally testing to expand yourself. DL's over on Instagram typing paper and pencil. You can't send a link with paper and pencil, bro. I'm being tested right now by DL. My testimony is that he is bothering me over on social media, knowing that I am in the midst of a little production. If y'all could see what this brother is saying on Instagram, and if you know me, my foot is heavily shaken under this table right now. We have her with us. Do me a favor, counselor, because I want the best presentation. If you're on, and oh God, I can't stop. We'll talk about that in a second. If you're on a laptop, can you pull the top of it closer to you? If not, in the camera, that's fine. We just want to hear what you have to say. Okay. So before we get ready to bring in Tanya, as we're going to refer, and let me just for trolls and different folks like that, if you all could see how she's, her and I are going to text about this episode after the show, and it's going to be hilarious. But we are not going to discuss anything that you would expect us to discuss. What we are going to discuss today is how she's doing, some of her thoughts and opinions on policy and politics. And speaking of politics, she may or may not share with us who she thinks will best continue the legacy. And she's been on the show before. We've talked about the app. We've talked about well, I'll let her talk about her own stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for your patience. It is an honor and a privilege to bring, and I'm going to say former counselor because I still honor her, but she has asked us to ensure that we call her Tania. So, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm telling y'all now, and you, Tania, I might slip up and just out of honor and just habit. So welcome to the Java Cafe. We worked through the question through the tech. People already starting to comment talking about that's my question. Who's she endorsing? So Tania, welcome back to the Java Cafe. Let's just say you are radiating this morning.
Thank you.
You just looking wonderful. So I'm going to give you a second to say hello and good morning to the folks. And I would ask you to describe the state of Roxbury in one word after you say hello. And then after that, we will go in and discuss just your observation of things and suggestions and ideas, and we'll go after that. And there are a lot of people in here showing love already, so let's put you on full screen so they can see all of you, and we will come back after your greeting and also one word for describing the state of Roxbury right
now. Good morning. Sorry, James or Jimmy? I always call you Jimmy.
Now it's you know me as James, and I get offended when people like you call me Jimmy, but in the context of where we are, Java with Jimmy, you can say Jimmy, but it's similar, whatever you want to call me, if you give me grace, if I slip into, the.
I think I might be a big sister. I feel like
James.
It's more motherly to say James, and I feel I call you James. I never call you Jimmy.
You can call me James. Okay,
yeah, I call you James. Good morning, James. Good morning, everyone that's here. Hi, Kevin. I am delighted to be here with you. So there's no, politics or performance today. Hey, Charlene, miss you so much. Looking forward to seeing you. Hey, Deanna. So today, I wanted to come on here, obviously, once we spoke to discuss some of the state of Roxbury. So we'll get right into it. One word I would say, evolving. That's definitely the word. And the reason why you see me so low in my camera, by the way, is because they make these computers, they put the camera on top, but I'm too short.
You
have to put pillows to sit on top.
Let's just reframe that and say you have a better ability to stay grounded.
Oh, right.
It like that. Not short at all.
Being a Capricorn, I think there's something about Capricorn and broad shoulders. I think people think I'm tall on screen, and then when they meet me, they're like, "You're so short."
It's not just your, I think it's a presumed stature also in how you, and you said, let's jump into it, how you did, and will continue to stand up for Roxbury. And so go ahead, Tania, and give us your word. And then let's give us some context, because there are a few things that we'd love to hear your perspective on. You are very balanced, very honest, very blunt, and very real. And so I'm excited to have this conversation with you. And somewhere along the line, we, may share some other information about your observations. So give us your word. Well, you said evolving. And so let's talk about the context. Why do you say evolving? Because if anyone can give perspective, it's you.
I would say evolving, and just so we can clear the air, I can't talk about the case, but ask questions and I'll answer accordingly. I'm not afraid or won't be upset with any questions. Please don't treat me like I'm still in my job role. That was a job, right? This is what I would say. That was a job. I am not my job title. I'm not a counselor. I did that as a job. And so I feel comfortable, and I feel more comfortable people calling me Tania. Tania with an A, not an O. And I would say, let's have this conversation. I wouldn't say so casually, but let's take it seriously, but let's not, right? Let's just talk. Anything you want to know, the intricacies and the inner and the backdrop of politics, happy to answer today. Ask me anything. I think, as you saw, the experience that I went through and still going through has definitely pulled some layers or added some. So um, I won't shy away from any conversation except the one thing, the one that obviously could have a detrimental impact on me.
First of all, counselor, I had to ask the word, and you gave some context as to how you're doing, but let's just make it very, very clear. There's a little statement. We are going to have a conversation about the evolution and evolving of Roxbury, respectfully so.
Yeah.
And so, Tanya, one of the first things that comes to mind based on my observations and based on, interviews and with the mayor and when the flyer goes up and the comments and questions I get, thoughts on White Stadium.
Okay.
Okay. What are your thoughts on White Stadium? And I guess specifically, I would ask the first question. I believe you were there, maybe when at the time when advertisement information was going out about community meetings about White Stadium. And I am correct. That is that was within the district of your job, correct?
It is. Yes, it
Yes.
is. It's in District 7.
It's in District 7. Yes.
Yeah, it's fully in District 7. It's not in the other districts at all.
By your observation, could there have been better outreach? Let's just first say from the other side of the hall, departments, and also I have also said that people that were aware and that are in the know, other elected officials, and thoughts on the community's voice in White Stadium.
Yeah, sure. So the White Stadium started out as like this, grand idea to improve the community, to bring something, high quality to us, and also lease it, not owned, but lease it to this company, Jennifer Epstein and her partners. And so I met with them, folks met with them, economic development met with them, and of course, mayor's office met with them, and everyone was talking about like, okay, what would this look like? Would it be a lease or whatever? When it came to community, I heard from a lot of civic associations, and they were saying, yeah, this would be great. They thought just as an idea, it would be amazing. And so at first, civic associations and groups were saying, this is a great idea, or this is a good idea so far, but let's look at environmental impact. Let's look at transportation plan. Let's look at all of the other impacts that it may have. And at that point, the mayor then, decided on the RFP and what that lease would look like, the conditions. And I was basically talking back and forth, okay, what does this mean for District 7 in terms of community benefits? And I came up with the idea for the $500,000, which I don't think is enough. I mean, obviously the amount was there. The developer's idea is not mine. But about community benefits. And so it would be like sort of this advisory sort of group, and then together they would decide how the monies would be dispersed. The issue then, what took place is that little by little, the city was kind of slow on putting out the transportation impact study, and as well as the study for parking, which is transportation, environmental, and stuff like that. As it started happening, you would see some players, and I'm going to be very honest with you, some people are looking for the development to benefit them. And so as you see them getting excluded and not necessarily benefiting from it, or any backdoor deals that they could have made, then folks started going against it. But also the city was not very transparent in terms of divulging information immediately on what the impact would be. So because of the stall and because of yes, they could have done better at outreach. I would say that the team with Mr. Dion Irish did an amazing job. I don't know if this is credit to Dion Irish, obviously it's always leadership, but his team, I forget, I I think it was, gosh, I forget the kid's name, but just two of them, who did an amazing job putting together, these community meetings and stuff like that. They were doing their work. They were looking at the environmental impact. They were trying to look at what parking would look like. And I think they were doing their job. I just think that it's such a huge deal, or it would have such a big impact, that it needed to be slowed down. And because the mayor wanted it when she wanted it, or the developers wanted it when they wanted it, and then the mayor had to make choices. And what mayor is going to say no to money coming in, or in the city, right? It helps your fiscal health. It supports you. It helps you to balance the other stuff. Like, you could use money for other stuff, right? You don't have to prioritize this thing. You could take money to something else. And so I could see where she's trying to balance, like, okay, white stadium, because also I'll have money to do something else, but also slow down the process. The mayor has this mindset where she feels like she has a list of things to do, and she wants to do it, and she wants it done. And she has this obsessive thing of not being like the person before her, which is not a bad thing. Obsession, if it's, in a healthy, balanced way. But then what she's saying is, I have a clock, the clock is ticking. I have 4 years, I've been elected, and I want to prove that I can get it done. And I'm not a mayor who's not going to get things done. In that process, though, in that that whole, like, juggling and balancing act, you are going too fast, and you may not properly include those that are impacted. Whether the intention is there or not, that's for God to know. But what we see is that it goes too fast, and then people are upset, and people are impacted. It's going to have grave impact on the constituents. It's not in a good way. Like, the parking, it's going to be terrible. And they know that. And they're honest. At least they've been honest behind the scenes about it. And there's still work to be done in order to mediate or alleviate some of that.
Thank you for that. One of the major things that I have observed specifically was the outreach in the beginning and the community's voice, as well as the major thing. And I would love to hear your thoughts on this. You said, just, let's just have a conversation. There's some things that are just done. They're concrete. Leases been signed. Dates have been maneuvered. Cost impact, shifts based on things like tariffs and, current situation of things going on in the country. Transportation, I believe, and full transparency, one of the brothers that's been on the show, Brother Ricardo from Privé, is a consultant and moving in the place of that, as well as like supplier diversity and things like that. Would you say that the focus now can dually be on, yes, there could have been better outreach, but would most of the energy be better served for the community to focus on things that are still fluid, like the transportation plan?
Yeah, I mean, the issue with Boston is, like, we're all so deprived in Boston. Everyone has a contract or a job to maintain, so everybody got to eat. And so you go to I'm not speaking to Brother Ricardo. I don't know him like that. I just know that if you have a contract with the city and it behooves you to maintain or preserve this, your subconscious instinct is to preserve, is to survive. So you're not going to compromise the relationship that you have with the city. You're going to say the things that the city wants you to say. You're going to move along the lines of, the way that the city needs you to move. Most of it, again, I think it's with good intentions, but I think that sometimes that there are corners cut. And so, no, I believe that with the transportation, there are details and intricacies that, folks that are experts on the ground, constituents who have informed us and, talked about this to, extensive lengths, that we need to really look at the impact on the streets closure and where the buses the shuttles are coming from, and the environmental impact on that, right? Carbon emission and all this stuff. What we do in the city is that because we have that contract, we're scared. And so people don't talk about the administration as they should. I think that the problem is when you are disrespectful. Like, for example, like, the mayor came out and said, Tania should resign. She didn't come out and say Tompkins should resign. She said Tania should resign. that's political connection, right? Like, I don't necessarily take it personal, because I understand that she has a relationship with Tompkins. Tompkins has a relationship with a lot of Black people. It's election season. So is she going to say, like, Tompkins should resign? No. And do I blame, like, I don't respect it, but do I blame her? Do I take it personal? No. Because I get it, because I understand, then I'm able to be more patient with it, and less judgmental. Again, I don't respect it. And it's the same with people with contracts in the city. It's the same with this transportation thing. It's the same with the White Stadium. Who's benefiting? Who has a job? Who's going to have a contract? Who is going to get bread? And that's how people act accordingly.
One note, and it's, as you said, you don't know him, and then I'm not necessarily capping for him, but just a point of information, when you said constituents, the brother is he's a constituent and adjacent right to Franklin Park, and not taking away from anything else that you said, because there is, I'll just surmise it as and if you agree or not, the nature of the beast. I believe that was one of the things that folks like yourself, Councilor Mejia, that you went into this job, and like many of us do, you cross the threshold, and it's like, oh, not blinders, but your lens is now more keen into processes and policies and things like that. So last point there I would like to ask is, from what you're aware of, one of the things that I did, and you're aware of my former role as a commissioner on the Black Men and Boys Commission, we advocated that general supplier diversity of a percentage that looks good on paper be more specified with Black, adjacent to the area, 02119, 02121, and things like that. Where, by your awareness now, I want to ask this right, because I know I know you'll say you'll never be satisfied with supply diversity for Black and brown and women marginalized communities, but
never enough.
Do you feel that from originally until now, the focus on supply diversity with specifics of adjacent to that neighborhood, Black and brown businesses that aren't, sports businesses, they're food play, anyway, supply diversity, how do you feel where things are at present?
Yeah, it sucks. I think it's horrible. It's horrible.
You're good. You're good.
It's crap. I think that Shagun is doing an amazing job. I don't think that you make progress like just at the snap of a finger.
Now, can I ask you one question specifically, Councilor, because I want to be sure that you speak specifically to what I was thinking, specifically to White Stadium, and then maybe we can go into general.
In terms of jobs. So
supply diversity for White Stadium jobs, all of that.
That was also, so you know how they like propagate or like announce, oh, we're going to make sure that it's 50% people of color in the jobs with White Stadium. Yep. That was my creation. That was me. That was Tania, who went into negotiation with Bill Caragori and Jennifer Epstein and team and said, this needs to, I don't care about 35%. This needs to be 50%. And even then, that's not enough. I was asking for 75. Of course I was. And so I am going to be watching that closely. I can't hold them accountable to an extent, but I do have relationships, in ways that hopefully can hold them accountable. They are mandate, or they have given their word that it would be 50% Black people. If it is not, the job should be stopped. If it is not, they should never again do business in Boston. And I have nothing against Bill or Jennifer. I think they should just keep their word. That is what the promise was. And again, it was a negotiation from me asking like all Black people to 50%, and hopefully that they comply. How it's going, it's so far, I think they are saying that they're doing their very best. And I think that's one of the issues, is that you have to have this bucket, this pool of Black contractors already in preparation before these things happen, so that, folks don't have an excuse and say, oh, but there aren't any Black contractors, that's why we didn't give them a job. Like, well, that's ridiculous. Whose responsibility is it to make sure that bucket is ready and full, ready to pull from? It is the city's job.
So let's go there as you were getting ready to speak to, and I think the other day you actually, folks, Tanya doesn't just pop on the show in her former job or whatever. She comments and on things. And the other day you made a comment in reference to, I don't want it was something not verbatim, but Shagun is great. So generally, supply diversity, you were trying to talk in general. I have said, and we're talking politics here to some extent. I have said that you may have some concerns with Michelle Wu. But there are some irrefutable things that's on an Excel sheet for Black and brown businesses. To your point, I'll let you pick up that it takes time and change. We'll also be very honest that a lot of that ability was based on ARPA funds, post and during COVID. And so I would love to allow you to continue your thoughts on general status of supply and diversity with the city of Boston for Black, brown, women, other marginalized communities. Your thoughts there?
I don't have issues with Michelle Wu. I have zero issues with Michelle Wu. I have issues with her decisions to not prioritize Black economy. I don't have issues with her as a person. And I don't know, I don't think about it that much. I could because I overanalyze everything, but I haven't. I think my job was to specifically look at the policies, look at the results, and look at the data and say, here lies the issue. You are not prioritizing this. I looked at the funds that were invested in equity. I looked at the programs that were designed in the equity cabinet. And then I looked at the leadership that she elected. And then we had conversations about it. And then I looked at the data and where the state of things are. James Jennings study, Boston Foundation, the Boston Globe, we all have it. And so then I pieced it together and I said, it's beyond more than the $8 thing. It's that we are, we are not just in the position, it's not just about not having money and opportunity. It's about actually don't have real opportunities to liquidate assets. We don't have land, and we are not being prioritized. And systemically, your oppressive systems continue to propel itself, and you don't have an issue, or maybe you do have an issue. Again, I can't speak to intentions, but you have not done something concrete to actually dismantle it and to be able to create other, stepping stones to get us there. And so when you look at the state of Black economy, are Black boys, and I say Black boys all the time because the most, lower in the status, being prioritized in terms of, education and stuff like that, highest numbers of dropouts. And so then the answer is no, you have not prioritized us in that sense, in terms of economic development. Now, as far as when you look at the numbers and it takes time, I would say that Shagun can only follow, what his boss tells him to do. And I think that he may have brilliant ideas about, and you can see that because of the different departments that's moved under his purview or leadership. And that's him doing that. That's him saying, I also need tourism. I also need the contracts, right? The acquisitions. I also need, equity. In order for me to properly do this, maybe it's the Black Wall Street, I have to understand all of these things here is a network. They have to function in synergy, and I need control over that. But he doesn't have full control, and it's until he has the money, which is the mayor. She holds the purse. She has to move the investments in order to provide the resources that Shagun would need to make such changes. So I see the changes that he did with technical assistance in business. I see the changes that he has done with tourism. I see the changes with activation. I see the legacy business and all the these are Shagun's ideas, and he's putting them out, and they are making changes, and they're making slow changes. But I think there needs to be more investment in order for him to really execute in the way that he wants to.
It's interesting. A couple of thoughts there is, and you clarified one question I was going to ask, because you it's so interesting because again, I said that you went in doing one thing and then now your lens is more keen. And a couple of times in our questions, you start off at the 50,000 foot view, but it's really the root up under, you know what I mean? Because as you started to say before, and this is no cap, some things where there are some things where the mayor has done well and progressed, I think you understand, and I've said this, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. thoughts on this, and one question about her fiscal lens. I've often said that people that are in non-appointed management, sometimes mid-level department, when the things that you agree with that were done aggressively get to the point to be implemented and executed, sometimes some people that don't agree with this equity and move, they know the processes, Tanya, and have the ability to slow things up based on old policies and practices that, you know, were created and around in a time that weren't favorable toward folks that look like you and I.
Sure.
So
To a very minuscule level, like you have, for example, okay, council makes amendment to the budget and money gets moved. Maybe we ask for $1 million and Mayor Wu says, I'll give you $250,000. And you get this $250,000 investment, say in the LGBTQ. I was the one who created the LGBTQ grants, not Mayor Wu, Councilor Anderson did. And so, and I'm not trying to get credit, but it's just that I didn't do a good job at promoting myself in this way as a counselor, and it is something you have to do. And
as a servant, can you add servant to that? Sorry, go ahead.
Servant. And I think it's important to understand where it originated, because when you hear people talking, like, you know, Councilor Mejia talking, and she's saying, you know, no, we got to fight and hold government accountable and transparency and blah, blah, blah. Like you are like, okay, so she is yelling about the government and what's happening. But the background of it is, for example, you create this amendment, the money comes in, and you're saying, you know, in terms of like the different practices or repressive practices that takes place, it's slowing down the process of actually creating the RFP so people can actually apply for the grants. Got it. Now, that happens. People slow it down. Oh, we haven't done it. Oh, you know what it is? We have to wait for this other thing. Yes, it happens. What doesn't get spoken about is that, for example, Councilor Lara, my baby, my heart. Councilor Lara would say, you know, we need $7 million from, you know, to be reallocated from this money that the police force is not using. By the way, there's no such thing as like defunding the police. It's just taking money that they're not using that gets moved around.
There's no new money. Except
Right.
like things like opera. Sorry, go ahead.
No, there's just money being moved around. For example, it goes into transportation. Transportation doesn't use it. Now all of a sudden, Michelle Wu would say, "Oh, move it over here to art. So move it over here." They can do that, and it's supposed to. We're supposed to get a report, but it doesn't always get done. We as counselors are supposed to get it, but it doesn't always get done if it's anything over $3 million. And then at the end of the year, it's like, "Oh, we moved $5 million. Did you?" Oh, you know, BCYF hasn't used $4 million consistently over like 4 years. Really? Okay, we'll take that money and we'll do youth jobs, because guess what? Youth they want to work. These kids, they're smart, they're ready, they want to work, and it will be used. And so Councilor Lara and I, we moved monies, but then Mayor Wu would say, no, not 7 million. Hell no. I'll give y'all 3 million. And then once the 3 million is actually moved, now that's the fight that you don't see. You don't see the lack of urgency, of vigor, and saying, yeah, I get that. I get that youth jobs employs, young, Black and brown kids. And that may mean less burden on the household. That may mean, more support for social determinants of health. That may mean decreasing violence rates. And so when it happens, the administration will say, we gave money for youth jobs, we did arts, and we did, we created LGBTQ grant. No, you didn't. You didn't do any of that. The council did. We fought with you. You reduced it down. And it's not just the mayor. It's all of these people in their department saying, we don't want to move that money that fast. We don't have the capacity to move it that fast. And we don't have the people. And meanwhile, we have to hire. Really, you got $4 million. Tell me where in what universe are you going to hire $4 million worth of staff in 1 year? By the way, it means that money doesn't get trickled in until August, September. So about 3 months is a lag. You interview for another 3 months. It takes about 6 months. So now it's half of that money really that you're going to be using, but you're fighting us on not moving this $4 million or half of it to youth jobs. Yeah.
I appreciate the fact that, again, you gave the high level and then also affirm something that, again, that, you know, there's that high level policy and pieces that need to be more aggressive and I won't even say so, more aggressive. But then when they are, you affirm the fact that sometimes within departments, and we're not so much talking chiefs and department heads, but the minuscule day-to-day of executing some of this stuff, it just gets interesting. And yeah. Okay. Oh goodness, it's 10:42. All right. I know you have time and I have time as well. And so I want to be very careful and sensitive with your time. And please forgive me. I'll ask this at the end. Because we didn't check in on, like, really, you know, I always ask with queens like you that move into space how you're doing, but we jumped into the work. We'll save that on the back end. One more question in this piece, and then we'll go into some of the politics. In October of 23, on the mayor's monthly appearance, she started talking about commercial property, seaport, things that were happening. A little bit, if you remember, I think then there was that thing about maintaining the AAA credit status. If I have it right, you know it better. You were you were Ways and Means. So okay, yes. It's often said that your budget reflects your policies, you know, and priorities. However, I asked this question because in retrospect, there was some things that the mayor said in October of 23 that literally made me go, hey, wait, time out. Are you predicting, you know, some economic sort? It literally, because the other part you said was you ask her one question and she'll be way out there in 8 billion places because it's all, you know, how her brain works. And she went into this thing that made me say, wait, stop. Is there an economic, you know, scare coming? Long way of asking, what are your thoughts on her ability as far as fiscal what is fiscal conservance? Help me. Conservancy, being fiscally conservative. Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, there was question or, you know, hypotheticals about, you know, possible recession. And we were all, you know, sort of, I guess, sensitive to it. But in a way, again, we were looking at monies that were not expended, funds that were just sitting there, and departments that had a pattern of underspending. And you see that with Councilor Worrell, who does an amazing job as the chair of Ways and Means, and hopefully our next president. I'd love to talk about that if you want to.
Hold on, because
hopefully our next president. Just a quick plug.
Yes, go ahead.
But yes, so basically, you know, every mayor and every, you know, wants a AAA bonding rate. It just means your credit score, guys, for the city. So basically, we borrow money, which is called, you know, bonds, and people get to invest in this in these loans, and so that's how it works. And then we pay it back. And so people invest and we pay it back, and then they earn some interest. And we pay it back with an interest, but we pay it back half the interest that we owe. Because we have such a good credit rating and because we generate so much revenue, we end up paying it back in half of the time, and also like half the rate, like less the rate, basically. Don't quote me half the rate. Exact numbers escape me at the moment. But so the mayor, any mayor would want to say, we have really good credit score. Like, I didn't come in and we was at a triple bonding rate and with Marty, and then now we're like less, you know, our credit went down. No mayor wants that. So she wants to be able to borrow conservatively so that she doesn't look like, you know, we're in deficit. And so Councilor Jed and I had filed this hearing order to actually explore how, you know, borrowing money bonds can create more housing, because we could afford it because as a city, we were generating the revenue and that we actually were paying it back so quickly. So we were in a good fiscal health to be able to do that. And of course, the mayor's like, yeah, but if we go into recession and we don't have the money to pay it back, now my credit score is down and then I look like a mayor who sucks. So no, I'm not going to do that. And so but you'll see her, borrowing increasingly, and that's normal for the city of Boston. You'll see her borrow increasingly over the years, but she's doing it in the way that is responsible, fiscally responsible. I respected it. I never thought the budget was a bad budget. I never said things like, oh, you're not doing your job or you don't give a crap. Like, no, the budget was a good budget. It's just that there were so many departments that you could chip away at numbers that were being underspent. And I think that her first year, she made some mistakes, just like I did, in terms of like not knowing my job, not understanding things, and learning it as you go. She winged it, and I was able to negotiate a whole lot of ARPA money for my colleagues to bring to their district. But I think it's probably because the mayor was a rookie at the time, and then once she learned, she was like, we're not. Get somebody else to do it. And and then it became a fight. But still, I still think that she could prioritize Black and Brown economic development way more than she is, because her equity department sucks. With exceptions to the LGBTQ department, they're awesome. But her equity department sucks, and the whole cabinet, it's awful. And the people under it are doing great jobs, like under the leadership. But the leadership, she's completely lost. And how do I say this nicely? I think that her strengths are probably better suited elsewhere, not as an equity cabinet chief. She knows that, she talks shit about me too. Sorry, I'm supposed to cuss. She talks trash about me too, and it's fine. But hey, you know what? I don't care. Black people are a priority, and you're not doing a good job. So let somebody else do it. Michelle Wu, hey, that's your friend. Stop it. Put somebody else in leadership of that equity cabinet. We deserve better. And that's, sorry, we're talking about money. And when we're talking about equity department, just so that we can like tokenize a few Black people in the city, and then have like these people that like sort of like carry the baton in ways that is pretentious and superfluous. Let's do it in a real solid, concrete way. And I just, there's so much vision from the council. There's so many qualified people out in the community. Black people know what to do with money. Just give it to them. And your grant programs, your returning citizens program, your any program that you talk about, your arts, they're so small and they're so stupid. Like if you're a nonprofit organization and you need funding or support and you apply and you get $20,000, what is that? Or even $60,000, what is that? So you could say like, well, we've given away 55 grants. Who cares? Every single one of them is like 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. So they're pretentious and they're not creating real solutions. And again, it doesn't speak to the mayor's character. It speaks to, this overwhelming job that she has to look at it from a macro level, and then but doesn't have enough time to look at it from a micro level to understand you're not really making real impact. You're just checking off boxes saying you've created so many programs and grants, and people are frustrated because they feel it, and then they say, okay, that's pretentious, that's self-serving, that's not real, that's not about us.
There's something that you said there, and I think, Tania, you can appreciate that. I have a peer review because I used to be on the other side of 5. And so I understand how things work within there. One of the things that you you said a couple of things there in that last.
What I say? I know what I said.
The equity cabinet leadership observation. I love the fact that you called for room for improvement, and then also accredited, and I have to shout out the good brother Frank Farrell that had the runs the BMA. Oh, there was so much that you said there, and there was one thing that when you talked about the budget and we're getting ready to get into politics, Brian macro. No. I've often, and I said this a couple of weeks ago, and again, it's not cap. Let's talk about processes. 2 things, we'll get into the politics. One, I hear something from you, and one of the comments had said that It wasn't like. It said, I don't agree with I don't dislike the mayor, but I dislike the mayor. What I thought of what I used to say was, at my time, and I said this publicly before, there was Marty Walsh, the man, and then there was Mayor Walsh. And a lot of people don't understand when you talk about the macro. So one, I get, based on that comment and some things you've said, I wonder, and in the context of what you said, of people around her as a leader, sometimes you don't get the stuff on your desk that it's not doing things until by my observation, until it's at a crisis mode, because you did say that a mayor can't get into the minutia of every day, like it don't hit the desk until it's blown up. And so I don't know if it's so much a question or just me observing that someone that's served in a hugely different capacity in this space, some things, Tania, that just are real about the process, but also can be interesting when you have this macro purview. I don't want to go too far because it's skating on lines are almost capped, but sometimes when this anyway.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, look, the mayor, I think it might be a Capricorn thing. I'm a Capricorn too. Like we
no pun intended, no cap, and then Capricorn.
No cap. We are technical thinkers, and we think on this like hyper analytical level all the time, and everything has to connect, and everything has to be categorized, and everything has to be very purposeful. And we think 10 steps ahead. And yes, we are meticulous and we are very purposeful. And so I do see the mayor saying, not only am I qualified, but I'm going to be different because my intentions are going to be good. And I'm going to have 100%, or not 100%, but I'm going to try to make sure that I understand it profoundly so that when I make policies, I at least understand on the ground level how it's working. And I could see her saying that, but realistically, yeah, it does not happen that way. Even myself as a counselor, tiny little, council, 5 staff, you don't get to hear everything. I've run into people like, hey, I emailed you and you didn't answer. And I'm like, no, not true. And
you go back.
No, I'll say, no, not true. And I'll pull it up and I'll be like, I read every single email.
Oh, okay.
And as a,
I was going to say staff was supposed to follow up, but yeah.
No. And so I think that I get how, ideally how maybe, as a mayor, you think about that. But then when it comes to the work, yeah, you do miss things. And I just think that, and also the city, you could see how the mayor wants all the control. That's why people are calling her a tyrant. And because she wants the control because she's like, you know what, at the end of the day, it falls all on me. And as a politician, you sympathize with that because you're like, I get it. Like in the end, people will say it's your fault. What happened? And so if she wants control, you can't blame her for that. But if she wants control to the deficit of the people, where the people are not getting included because her team is not doing this at a profound level, maybe they're on the bus and maybe they're at the library and their staff and a few people with connections, with access are showing up to these meetings, but not the people that are more ignorant and I mean ignorant to it.
Nope, ignorant means you just don't know. Sorry,
you just don't know. Like people that don't have the information and not there, and then they come up and they're like, "Wait, what's happening? Wait, what? Blue Hill Lab? Wait, what?" So then we did a survey with Blue Hill Lab. We found out that 75% of people didn't know it was happening. Like the business owners, they didn't know it was happening, and 85% of them was like, "No, hell no, we don't want that middle lane." And so, but the meetings, they were like, to your questions about like, did community engagement happen with White Stadium? Well, did community engagement happen with Blue Lab? They'll say we did 100 meetings, but guess what? Who's in the meeting? 60% of that was city of Boston staff. It was not actual community, and the other 40% are like, some white folks or retired or older people that's not working anymore that actually have time.
That are able to end.
So then you have people that are working. And you could go on and on and on, and back to like the whole macro level, micro level thing. it's like, okay, I get it. But at the same time, you are someone who has been mayor for, 10 years. I mean, who's been council for 10 years. You have a lot of experience. You have not delved too much into the issues that impact Black people. And now you know that you have to, then it's done on a minuscule level. And we can blame it on the fact that you don't have your hands in everything. But then we can also look at the fact that she's only been in for 4 years. Is it because, she doesn't have her eyes on everything? Is it because she's only been there for 4 years? You do have to give people time to sort of, work that out, I guess. And so I always say I'm not qualified to judge a person in that position. I've not been in that position. I'm not her. I'm not an Asian woman, that considers that moves in this capitalistic liberalism, and it is.
Sorry.
And it is. It's like this fake.
We about to go there.
It's like this fake progressive stuff. It's like you're not. And you're a capitalist liberalist. I get it. Like, you have to survive. You have to preserve your seat. At the same time, you claim this liberal stuff, but then when you vote, you take back your stuff. The school committee, your policies that impacted D7. People are saying that you don't listen to folks. What's real though? I'm interested in what's real. What's real is that you're a human being. You're a woman. You're an Asian woman of color who was passable. Who white women, liberals, white women are very comfortable with you. They can say, we voted for progressive and we did the right thing. What else is real? What's real is that you may want good for everyone. I don't know. I'm not in your heart. It looks like you do. But what's also real are the statistics that you did not cause. And then what's real is what you've done so far. What have you prioritized? And some of that is to self-preserve. And some of that is politics. And some of that is because you love people and you want good for people. All of it is true.
And that's the thing I constantly say, and let's get into the politics, because just to end transition, you can walk and chew gum at the same time. And again, I said, I've been saying for the past I've been saying, honestly, since there was a race, I unfortunately had some past experience with a candidate that Tanya wouldn't let me even consider them to be supported. I say that because it's good to have this knowledge, but sometimes there is a disadvantage of sometimes it is very challenging to understand and know the intersections and intricacies with all this stuff. We'll transition a little bit. One of the things that you just talked about is she's a woman. She's an Asian woman. She's an Asian woman. We're going to get into some of the politics. We talked a little bit about systems and things and whatnot. There's a mayoral election, though not perfect. There has been some progress. You are a Black woman, a woman of Cape Verdean descent.
I'm a Black woman.
A Black.
I mean, if we couldn't talk about my nationality, born, sure. But if you're talking about my color, my race.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But I just wanted that was homage and just, respect.
Thank you.
But it okay. An Asian woman who speaks fluent Spanish. Again, where there have been agreement and assertive, real, impactful, what did you say, concrete things, some of the stuff that you're seeing away from, how is it for women? Oh, let me just jump to the thing. Do you think that old Boston, Tanya, let's ask
the question.
Do you think old white racist Boston is putting a little more and have disagreement with policy? Fine, that's real. Concrete things, Do you think that there's some energy in this mayoral race because of the white nationalist movement, of Boston's old history being, busing racist? You talked about systems and structures. Do you think, let's get into a little bit of politics. Describe the state of politics in this mayoral race in one word, and let's go there.
One word.
In one word. Yep. Specifically mayoral.
So many funny things are coming to my head.
Listen,
One
you can
word.
give context so everything can come out, but surmise it if you can in one word.
My goodness.
I've never seen you stumped. Ever.
I think typical.
Without being any, let
It's
me get off
typical.
screen.
Another
You
word.
give
Another
context.
word.
Go ahead.
Another word. Underwhelming.
Oh,
This is my resting bee face. Underwhelming. It's so underwhelming. I'm just like,
when you said that, I thought of the text I sent you yesterday. So okay, you said typical and underwhelming. Can you please give us context within what I was saying? That there are some factors to her being a woman who's Asian, who speaks fluent Spanish, who also, I don't know if you were a counselor then, that is standing up on this Trust Act piece. So oh Jesus. Oh God. Tanya, go ahead. Jesus Lord. It is 11:09. We're going to keep going. So underwhelming.
I can't blame this. Again, I'm not qualified to be able to be like point. But what I observe is that you have someone who is standing on this Trust Act thing. So what? You're not actually fighting the federal government. Nobody wants to. Crap, I don't want to. They're scary. The minute they come at you, you do what they tell you to do. Like, it is not like they are power, right? They're a machine. So I'm not going to, get into like, this is what I think about Mayor Wu, this is what I think about Josh Kraft, and is the racist like, I don't know, conjuring up some the witches from like Salem coming all the way in and conjuring up some racist whatever concoction to whatever. I don't know what exactly is happening. What I do know is that standing on the Trust Act it's a statement. It's just saying, this is what I feel, this is what I think, this is the side that I support. It's not fighting anything. You are not actually fighting anything with real solutions and policies. And no one is going to do that with the federal government. And so I think I think it's all the right thing. Like, I think the people are the right thing. But when it came to Gaza, like Michelle and Marquis and the governor, they all went and they stood on their thing, their podium, and they said, we support Israel. I support Israel too. But do we support Palestine? Do we support ceasefire? Like, there's all of these like different things about like what you stand for and what you can come out and say you stand for. And you're making a statement. Okay, thank you for the statement. Okay, good night. But what are the real solutions that are going to protect? And are you really fight? Are you actually able to fight the federal government? No. Like, be honest about that. Keep it moving. Now, as far as the campaign is concerned,
can I ask one question
Sure.
real quickly on the piece of fighting the federal government with the Ways and Means, with the budget allocations because of the stance? Is the filing the court cases along with AG Campbell and whatnot, is that because behind that there, as you said, there's a lot of things that come in this place. You have to make public statements. You have to, make stances as politician, electioneer, all that other piece.
Andrea Campbell's on a whole nother level. She's the queen and she's on a whole nother level. Let's not even, we don't have enough time to talk about the Queen Campbell. So let's just set that for another meeting. I think that those are real, she is interested in real solutions, and she looks at, actionable items to execute. And we'll give her flowers every day, any day. Like, I absolutely love her and believe that this woman is fierce. Like, she is powerful, she is strong, and she is capable. And I've experienced her on a personal level where she's like praying for me on the phone, and I've experienced her on just political, and she's a class act. Like Charlotte Ritchie, there are certain women in politics. There are certain women that are just like class act. Period. So as far as what's happening in the intricacies, I don't think we have enough time to get into it. But I do feel like, again, I applaud, Mayor Wu for coming out and standing, but I do think that they pick and choose. They literally cherry pick and choose what is beneficial and what can preserve their seat. And if they feel like the powers that be is too strong to fight, and yeah, they will come after her if she does that, then she doesn't stand on some things. She won't come out and make statements. But what she did with that big press conference is a statement. It's not actual real policy solutions. So the people should understand that. We get emotional and we're like, yeah, we're gonna stand together. Yeah. That's important too. That's important too. And we should do that. But is it a real thing? No. Now, in terms of the campaign, I think that it's underwhelming because I was really hoping for like real challenge. I mean, in my mind, logically, practically, like you say, oh, well, yeah, the incumbent is going to win. This you just know that. But you do the calculations. You're like, wow, it's an uphill battle. And I think that Josh Kraft is smart enough to know that. I think that I think he's a good guy. I would hate to ever discover one day that there was like some sort of like white supremacist movement behind him. That would be atrocious. That would be crazy. I don't believe that. I've met with him. I think that he's a good guy. I just don't see real policy solutions. And that could be because everything was sort of like came out of nowhere. To prepare for something like this, to take out an incumbent who's like, white passing, an incumbent who's, even though she's Asian, an incumbent who, a Harvardite, an elite. She's a millionaire herself. She came with a silver spoon too. Like, it's not like she's someone who didn't have it, right? She came from money, and she doesn't have experiences like Andrea Campbell. Like, she comes from a different world. And but still, it's relative to your own individual, traumas and stuff you experience. So that's why I say I'm not qualified, because I don't really know what, like maybe she has daddy issues. Maybe she came from like some severe trauma. I don't know that. So how can I sit here and judge someone and say, oh, Mayor Wu's this or that? I don't know. All I know is what I see and what I observe. And what I observe is that her campaign is also underwhelming, because when she gets into this tit for tat with Josh, it's like, what? Who cares? What's happening with Black economy again? And then when you see Josh Kraft going like, yeah, with the campaign commercials, you're like, oh, so what are your real policy solutions? And so that's the stuff that I think, and Josh knows it himself, because as a candidate, that your team carries you. You know what I mean? So, and I think he has, Mike Knievy, who I think is a beautiful person. Personally, not politically, I don't know his political stuff. But the campaign is not strong enough. And the mayor's campaign too is underwhelming. And I don't know if it's because she doesn't have enough money, or because she's just pulling herself in all these different directions so she can look like she is the all-encompassing mayor. She's doing everything. I am the queen and I do everything. Like, it's just been pulled into too many directions. So it's like a lot of quantity and less quality. And that's just my personal little tiny opinion.
I often say that I'm not an expert, and I don't think that you would profess yourself to use the term expert, but both of us are certainly not novices. And there are some things for me, Tania, that I have watched and seen that you have affirmed for me that I've been saying to our public. I will say, and I say it publicly, and this, I'm Wu leaning, and whatnot, but there are some things in policy and process that I've tried to tell the people, away from valid concerns, that even if things will 100% align the way you want them based on what you see is good for our community, there's still some stuff that just is like banging your head.
For example, Black male advancement, alignment, Mejia, Tito, they did that, not the mayor, right? Like, then the mayor is a job again. She holds the purse. She is to support it with investments. Frank Farrow has done a tremendous job leading that. And because it grows, and because he is actually the only department, I would say the only out of the three. MOH does it, Chief Dillon does it, or no, Shagun does it. The only other four, Shagun does it, and I think Actually, a couple of them others do it. Never mind. So maybe like the only out of the five.
You got that Ways and Means hat.
I know. I started thinking like, who actually files the report that they say they're going to file on a quarterly basis? And Frank Farrell is one of the leaders that do. And not only is he reporting back to monitor progress, to be able to measure like where are we going and how much progress we're making or growth we're making, but he's also increasing investments slowly but surely. But I think if you give him more funds, he could do a whole lot more. He's already proven himself. And so we shouldn't have to put him in a position where he has to like wait, where other departments are getting all this money for bike lanes and then doesn't use like $8 million in 1 year.
Did you see? That should have been up for one of the ones I asked in the beginning about your
where am I with bike lanes?
You covered Blue Hill Ave a little bit.
It's you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like the people with the corn, like if you build it, they will come. Whatever. Is that movie? I don't know. Some baseball movie. If you build it, they will come. It's like that. It's like, okay, you have like this mindset that you know what's better for Black people because we environment hurts us. But you know what hurts us even more is that if I can't drive my hoopty to drop off my grandma, to go cook for my mom, to go pick up my kid and get to that job, that measly job that I have. So like all of that, like I need my hoopty and I need to like park it somewhere. And while we're trying to balance, like I'm for environment, by the way, I ride bikes. I have a trailer, I hook it on my bike. I do all of that. I put my babies on the bike, everything. However, it's one of those things where you have to balance it and you really have to listen to what the community is saying to you. This is hurting us. Blue Hill Ave will displace Black and brown businesses. And is that intentional? Do you want to create this big commercial corridor where you do your, what is it called? The squares and streets down Blue Hill Avenue and you sell it to developers? I don't know, but what's going to happen is those small Black and brown businesses are going to be displaced. And now they're saying, now that it's campaign season, they're saying they're going to wait and they're going to listen more to community after that hearing that we had. It was such a ghetto behind hearing, but you know what? It was needed. It was ghetto behind. Like we were there and people were yelling and people didn't really understand like how things work. And it was sad because that now, Council Mejia was like trying to like be the advocate and respond to everything. People were being disrespectful. So like a lot of it happened, but that disruption happened because there's pain, because it's desperation, and because we haven't done a good job at making sure that people have access. And so when you have something like that coming and the small businesses, 75% of them don't know that the middle lane is going to happen. And then when it does happen, it takes away 40% of parking. Now they're saying they're going to rethink that, and they might not do it. My point is that, yeah, we want bike lanes, but what, on these small little Dorchester, Roxbury streets, if that doesn't actually have room for that? Come on, like you can do it in some spaces, but you can't do it in all places. And if you want to be the environmental administration that, made carbon, whatever, environmentally friendly, carbon emissions and all that, environmentally friendly Boston. Yeah, but at what cost? At removing Black people from Boston? And this is how it works, people. People are just not opening their mouth and complaining. If you displace Black businesses, Black and brown businesses, which employs the majority of Black and brown people, then you lose your job. And if you lose your job, you have to you lose your housing. And meanwhile, taxes are going to go up, or appreciation on property. And you have like rents going up on commercial and, residential. And folks just can't afford to be here anymore. And then you go look at the numbers for the last 10 years, knowing that we've lost, right? We've lost over like 10% of Black people in Boston. Like that's a lot. And then you see it for yourself. Everyone is seeing it and complaining. Not complaining, but, obviously talking about it. But it hurts because it's like gosh, like where do Black people live? When are we ever going to be in a place where we can't get moved? When are these people going to get rid of their scarcity mindset? Why do you have to have so much? Why do you have to take and consume and eat and kill us every time? And yes, it does kill us because we have less money, because we don't eat the right things, because we have to drive to work, because we are poor, because we have to go back to our little tiny like housing. It does hurt us, and then eventually we die. And then you see the statistics: 28 years, or now 22 years less from Back Bay to Roxbury. Unbelievable. And then you see Black people walking around with all this vicarious trauma, their environment and their society, and how they're inflicted by these traumas. And you see us walking around and still living and still surviving and still creating and still being able to thrive. And you wonder why they look at us in admiration and why they want to take. We will share with you. We will share with you. You don't have to take it.
And we don't, the fact, if you prioritize Black people, if you look at the wonderful term BIPOC and flip it over and put the B on the bottom, every other marginalized or even some that may not be included in the term BIPOC, it's literally on the back. You focus your attention on improving Black people, everybody.
On the other side of things is there's this scarcity mindset, because we're impacted by our environment, right? Our societal norms. So we are also developing or internalizing this scarcity mindset. We're also feeling like, a bit xenophobic, where we are now saying, if we allow these immigrants to come in Black neighborhoods and open businesses, now we're not going to get some too, and stuff like that. And it's like, well, yes, part of that is the level of like internalized, house Negro complex that immigrants or Black and brown immigrants come with. We like a lot of these so-called Black and brown people come in with this idea that you don't want to be like the black person, like this. Don't be like the Blacks. That's what they say in their languages. En español, lo latino, tú lo sabes, que es todo. Ustedes en la casa, los dominicanos, los boricuas, todos lo dicen. Que no diga, no se pone con negro, que ese negro no trabajan, no hacen nada, son perezosos. You guys know what I'm talking about. Crioulo, same thing. Ño se pensa, manhões é branco, manhões é preto, manhões é preto, manhões é negro, manhões é africano. And so there's like all of these different, and I could go on and on and on, different languages, right? Like, but there's all these things. There's all of these layers that with scarcity mindset that we actually put on each other, right? Like immigrants come in, now we don't want them. But then it's like, well, how much of that is okay before they take away from us? But who's benefiting from all of these equity and benefits?
People lighter than you and I.
White women. White women.
And their husbands and their uncles and their husbands and their dads and nephews too. Sorry. Oh, Jesus, counselor.
White women. My son is a U.S. Marine and a gosh dang like good one. Like he is like, oh my God, he is amazing. He speaks 3 languages. He's college educated.
Like his mama?
Huh?
Like his mama? Because I didn't know.
This kid is a boss, right? Like he's amazing. I know it's my son. But like he applies for the cadet program and passes. The investigator comes to the house. Like I didn't want to tell no one because I want no favors. I don't want nothing. I've never connected people with jobs. I've connected people with land through my job, through RSPs, but I've not like actually gotten anybody a job in the city, right? And so I tell them, I keep my mouth shut. When I checked in the end, don't you know, not only were they hazing him, talking about every day coming to my son, like, now he got the highest physical aptitude. He passed the actual fire exam and he gets in there. And do you know what they say to him? Oh, that they don't have to have reasons why they don't allow you, they don't accept you. He was the only military applicant, the only one that can carry a dead body in the class that he was in. The only one that can carry a dead body. The only one that's certified in all of these trainings already. A U.S. Marine. He's been a Marine for like going on 5 years. And they tell him that a white young lady, congrats to her, got chosen over him, that worked at McKenna's as a waitress. Got the position over him because she's considered a minority. So
again, you said that we're going to talk.
It's a minority class. It's a minority program. It's a minority program, and there was no reasons to, and then one of the guys that leads it, Mike, whatever his name is, he was like, oh, counselor, I was like, listen, I don't want to have to issue with you because I don't want you to say that later I was trying to like use my position, whatever. He's like, no. He's like, there's other things why we disqualify. And he's like, like how you present yourself, leadership. And I was like, that's not true because he broke, what's his name? The fire union president's record in the U.S. Marine after 25 years.
The guy that moved on and he's all over the state now. I know who you're talking about.
The Marine mustache.
I think I know who you're talking about. So you're saying that you believe he was targeted, or he was targeted because he was your son.
Of course. I was told next, tell him to apply next time and make sure you tell us. Huh? You want me to ask for a favor? So my son was like, no. My son was like, no, thank you. I will live with my own honor. My son has way too much integrity for that. And he's like, no, thank you. I want nothing to do with him. And so he'll apply through the fire department on his own. He'll get veteran status soon. And God willing, may God protect him. May God, guide that process. God willing to do the right thing. But there was a lot of shadiness in all of this, the scarcity mindset again. And again, who benefits from most of these programs, even the diversity program, the fire cadet program, is white women.
It gets us back into a little bit of the national conversation, and I still, with the balance that you gave about your observations in reference, to the campaign and candidates, I do have to, and I guess this leans into a little bit of how you're doing. You are a Black woman, and oh God, Tania, there was two things, and then we'll get ready to wrap up, and we'll talk about whether you see someone that can carry your legacy. There were two notions of the diaspora that you talked about a couple of times during this conversation, and one that concerns me because I believe it is real that Black people who have been here, it's been named veterans, who have served this country, who have paid taxes, who have done a lot. There was a concern that when our immigrant brothers and sisters were some shipped here, flew here, or had to fight and survive to get here, there was this conflict within the diaspora that I just found interesting. At the same time, you've also talked about, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you named that maybe that's a valid concern for Black people who aren't of immigration status, that there had seemed to be this imbalance around resources, around housing, around food stamps, I've even, seen chatter around licensure. So I at some point, I'd like to talk further with you about that, because to your last point, the people that benefit from that internalized conflict within the diaspora are not the people within the diaspora.
I think that, divide and conquer is the oldest model that is been used and continues to be used, right? It carried through redlining, it carried through Willie Lynch redlining, all the way up to mass incarceration, all the way to today. You separate folks from each other and you make them think that there's not enough, and then you have them fight each other for it, or you separate them and you give them different information, and then you make them feel like one has more than the other, and then they fight each other. And so you I'm Cape, yes, my nationality is Cape Verdean.
I was going to say that too, because I love Tao, because that's another thing. It came up in 13 when John Barrows came in. it comes up here and there now about Black and Cape Verdean, and I loved what you said. I respect, because I respect the culture and the heritage, and so even that was an observation, because you was like, I'm Black, so. Just two things that I observed that you made across the diaspora, and I just wanted to interject that one because I didn't finish.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, and so my nationality is Cape Verdean, which just means like literally, I guess ethnically, I'm literally 55% Senegalese, and and then I have like Nigeria, I have some Ghana.
Okay.
I have some Nigeria, I have some Ghana, some Togo, some and then some Congo. And so like I have, and then there's like Russia.
Wait.
I'm actually part Jewish, like actually like genetically like Jewish. So like
wait,
yeah.
Hold on. You can't Russia and
yes, I have. Yeah, I know. I have some weird ancestry. But that's Cape Verde. Cape Verde suffered piracy every decade.
Yes. Yep.
Every decade, because if you controlled Cape Verde, you control the transatlantic slave trade.
Yep.
Right? All the ships would stop in Cape Verde, and then all these other countries would come and either do trade or kidnap people. And yes, some people were being sold, but not at the numbers that they were being kidnapped. And then there's then Cape Verde was suffering famine. And then the Cape Verdeans, the rebelados, Portuguese would call us Badiou, like savage, like the N-word for us. And so if you're from Santiago, the island where I'm from, they call us Badiou. And naturally, we then, just like the N-word, we took ownership of that word. So I'm a proud Badia kind of thing. And so, yeah, that's that too in Africa. And so we feel, at least the people that actually understand themselves, Cabralistas, like people that follow Cabral, people that follow Nkrumah, right? People that follow Thomas Sankara, all these people, we in Cape Verde that have been educated. My parents educated me because I came when I was 10. Not my parents, but my uncle who raised me, my uncle who I talk about, who didn't come out of the closet until he was like 40 and sacrificed himself to raise me and blah, blah, blah. Okay, fast forward. If you are educated and you understand yourself, you come to this country understanding that you have to pay homage. You understand that the African-American people are an extraordinary people. And I'm not fascinated in a fetishizing way, of course not, because I'm Black myself. And yes, I want to be like a Black American woman. Absolutely. Who wouldn't want to look up to the Black American woman? You are the best. You are the best qualified. Black men, we'll get there too. You're the best qualified, and you're just
hey. Don't say.
And you're just amazing, and you just survive. But what I've noticed, what I've experienced, what's real is that the Black women, American women, of course, are the most envied, because you have this innate ability that people don't naturally have to be able to naturally nurture without effortless love and unconditional level of like extending yourselves. And yes, you are not responsible for saving the world, but you are certainly the most qualified to convert and change and evolve the world. And so there's this admiration on my behalf. And I think that there's this admiration from, other folks as well, that they hate to admit. And I think their shadow, right, their subconscious ends up like lying to them. Like Carl Jung talks about how when you...
Oh, come on here with psychology and psychiatry. Come on here.
When you interact with another personality, that if the chemistries don't mesh in a way, right, that is healthy for you, that what ends up happening is some sort of like lustful exchange where you want what that person has, or you see something in them that reminds you of you. So we are guilty of our own pet peeves in some ways. And so instead of acknowledging your shadow, like what your subconscious is telling you that is reminding you of you, instead you have these reactions that are unnatural, that are stupid, and that are angry, that are impulsive. And then you think you hate us. You think you hate Black women, and it's all because again, it's showing you the beauty, that energy that you yourself want, or reminds you, maybe even a positive thing about you that it's reminding you of you. And so I say this about Black women, and because it is super important. You will never get anywhere. Black immigrants, you can have your businesses. You can tell yourself that you speak the Queen's English because you come from Barbados. I don't care. You can do all of that and still, and my Bayesian friends don't do that, but I've seen some that do. But you can do all of that, and still, you have to understand the only reason why you're here, the only reason why you have opportunities, the only reason why you're making it, the only reason why you can piggyback off of somebody else's genius is because the African American people have been able to do this thing and manifest so much beauty and art and survival in a way that now it's celebrated. We don't want you as relics. We don't want to have you on the wall. And we're like, oh, look at the past. You know, these Black people, they used to wear these big ass hoops in the 90s, and it's art. And now Gucci's doing it. What the hell?
Tania? There's so much to unpack there, from culture appropriation.
But let me, sorry. But the diaspora, sorry, I wanted to finish my point. The diaspora, if you do not pay homage to the people that are responsible, that have opened up the doorway for you, you are lying to yourself. You are doing a disservice to your own psyche. Eventually, you are a liar and a hypocrite, and you have not you've not given credit where credit is due. And that's psychological welfare for yourself. Like I know it sounds deeper than people are thinking about right now, or maybe perhaps, sorry audience, but it is that eventually you are having that dormant in your mind, and you're walking around with this like superfluous self-confidence. And I think that's the problem, is that everybody that comes from another country has high confidence. They have not high confidence, high self-esteem, because they love themselves. They see Black everywhere, they see brown everywhere, so they love themselves, but they don't have confidence because they have not had the opportunities to be able to create and do and get jobs. Where Black people in America have low self-esteem, and I include myself because I came when I was 10. We have low self-esteem. We don't love ourselves enough because we've been told that we're less than, and we're not attractive, or we're this or we're that. So we have low self-esteem, but we have very high confidence. And so folks that grow up in America, or that are Americans, Black Americans, you have high confidence. That's why you are able to just be like, you know what? I'm going to open a business, and I'm going to do it. And it's just going to be me, and it's going to be bomb. And I'm going to be successful. That's why you do that. And then there's opportunities around you, of course, so you're able to do that and manifest that. And the contrary, people come in with high self-esteem. I am Black, I am beautiful, but your confidence sucks. And then you don't give credit for the people that got you here.
So on that last part, one comment I saw a few moments ago were that you needed to be a professor of government at some academic institution, or create your own and educate. I put a post up the other day and said there's a difference between civics and politics, and there needs to be a Cliff's Notes masterclass level 1 soon, and we really got an example of that today. I want to be sensitive to time. 2, I'm 53 and had 2 cups of coffee this morning. Praise the Lord. So we're going to get, but I want to give you time, counselor, because no one they may disagree with a policy. They may disagree with some commentary, which, you know, people do that often in this space. You have definitely, and I'll say grown, and I don't say that disrespectfully, from your entrance or from first meeting you and knowing you, but, you know, today is Testimony Tuesday. And a few months ago, Brother Thaddeus, who I believe you know, Miles, we were talking one day about, you know, what's your testimony? What's testing you? And da-da-da-da. And Thaddeus was like, yeah, but what are you doing to expand yourself and test your growth in who you are? And I believe that there is a 50-50 thing Tanya, that some was a test you're going through, but I think a conscious decision in that was the ability to, okay, and I know you're a woman of faith. Okay, God, Allah, what do you want me to get out of this? Out of any situation. And I just see that. And so with that being said, and I need you at some point to go back and look at the comments, because the affirmations, the agreement, the energy that the audience has for you is just tremendous. I had to ignore some of them because it was just too much. And if I look at the comments, it'll be somewhere. I did not start off because we went right into the work. With all of that, all that you've carried, all that you've done, all that you've accomplished, all that you've mastered as a Black woman, I did not start off like I usually do with, how are you? We see that you're in Tanya. And I often say, not counselor, but how is Tanya doing? But how's Tanya doing?
Okay, so really quick.
Yes.
The whole Allah thing. If you're gonna say Allah, then
Yes.
If we're gonna speak Arabic, like if we're gonna speak Arabic and you want to say Allah, know that Allah, like the word hyphenated in Spanish, el Dios, like the God. Yep. In Arabic is Illah is the word for God, and Al is the one, the only one. So what we say, we don't say God, we say the only true God, and we make it Allah. So that is for the public. So
say it again. Teach us real quick, and it's actually 4 or 5 languages you speak. But go ahead. So say it again, and I'm gonna say it with you. And my boy Milton is in here. And I meant to ask you because go ahead. I'm sorry. Teach us, and then.
So A-L O.
O.
A-L O.
A-L-O. O.
So and then say L-A-H. Allah.
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 Yeah, pronounce both L's.
Allah.
Yes.
Of course. Brother Milton is in here. And he talks about to the Juntu. And so anyway, please answer the question thank you for that. Because I want to speak and say things correctly. So thank you so much. And for those of you after this, we will ask the Tanya the major question that a lot of you all waited about 40 minutes for.
So I am doing okay. And I wasn't used to I'm used to just saying I'm great. I'm doing okay. And okay is a beautiful place to be. All praises due to God, no matter what you go through in your life. And maybe one day there'll be a book, and I will get to tell the full story. But for now, I will say that God is the all-seer, God is the all-knower, and God is our witness to all. And I have to be okay with God's process for me. And I've come to a point where I don't feel the need to hurry up and tell the story. And it's not important anymore. I started volunteering for an amazing program. Shout out to Stacy Borden. She's a beautiful, beautiful human being.
Oh, she's definitely in here in the comments.
Oh, she is. Yes. So shout out to my sister. And I started volunteering at New Beginnings a couple months ago, and it's done tremendous, cathartic, therapeutic work for me. And to be with people that are grounded in self understanding and awareness is tremendous for me, because I suffered from low self-esteem. So I had boundary issues, and so I would not say no to people. I was not able to, set limitations. And because you measure your worth by someone else's, measuring stick or whatever, for lack of better words, you continue to hurt yourself and pour out. And Black people, we know what I'm talking about, right? So then you go into this situation, you go into a situation and in your life, any situation where it's cleansing, but it's purgatory. Like it's literally killing the inside of you. So, as Christians say, you are reborn because the old you dies. And so I understand that expression, being reborn, to a new level now, and I'm not done, and God is not done with me. Um, I am so grateful for the pain, for the experience. I would never want this to happen to anyone, or wish it upon myself again. May God protect me. But I will say that it is very hard to keep your mouth shut and just keep moving and bow your head down. But in the process, I learned that to be grateful to God, it is truly to accept, and to be able to, once you are grateful, you can accept the process. And once you accept, you can, one, exert positive energy, because you are no longer holding on to the anger. You're not taking credit to, you're not asking, oh, but why, or why this way, or why this that way, or why this person, whatever. You are just accepting and going through the growth and the evolution. I think there is a purpose. I can't tell you that I know the full picture and the full story. Only God knows that. I just know that it's been, for lack of better words, humbling is not a good word. It's just not a good word. But it's been quite the experience. And the only thing that, I'll say this, the only thing that has allowed me, first God, to pick up my chin and walk through this fire. But it's been the people. It's been you, the people that have loved on me, the people that have, and I had no idea that so many people actually loved me. And I'm an emotional mess. I'm not an emotional mess. I accept my emotions, and I'm trying to deal with them, right? But I love people. I love people so much. I don't like people. I'm weird. I don't like to hug, and some people have gotten offended, and I'm sorry. I'm weird around people, but because I'm an introvert. But I love people so much. I love you for the sake of God. And the way that people have loved me, to see like a senior Black woman cry for you, or even like a white man with his long ass beard crying for you. You're like, well, who the heck am I? I'm nobody. Like, I don't understand how I've affected these people. And so I thank you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm sorry that you had to deal with such a grotesque impact, such a horrible thing. And yeah, and I'm okay. And little by little, hopefully, I'll be able to figure out exactly how I can give it back to you, how I can give it back to you, how I can love you back in the way that you've loved me.
Tanya, I probably one of the most conflicting times that I've been doing this was the balance of, I got ready to cut you off because when people, I wanted to give grace, but then also allow you to be your authentic self. And so one, in asking that, I think it is always, I usually start it because with all that you do, I need people to see, the human side, but we could have probably skipped that question because we saw the human side all throughout, to the end. And so there is so much support, over on Instagram. It's an aura. I don't personally know her, and I knew she carried a special light. Looking forward to hearing more. Sending love and growth always. So, and there's so much here. Mayor Thomas has been in here today. Peace be with you. And people, mothers, I think we did before. But please make sure that Tanya is on the prayer list and keep her lifted as well. And so I really appreciate your time with us today and knowledge. This was, I believe, a masterclass in Boston politics and processes, and very, very even keeled and just,
What did my Jewish auntie say in New York? I'm verklempt.
First of all, we still got to get over it. When you said Russia and Jewish, and I said, no, there's nothing wrong with that. But I was like, really? But
okay, quick story.
Yes, go ahead.
When I got my DNA back, I covered all the white pieces and I changed the numbers to, instead of 55 Senegalese, I put 75. And then I sent it to my family in a group text and I said, ha, you see my black nose, you see my black lips, you see my body, I'm blacker than you just because I'm light skinned, blah, blah, blah. And my sister, she's very dark, beautiful, like ebony. And she goes, but I just don't understand. So for weeks, I would carry this on. For weeks.
You really had your family perplexed.
For weeks. And it's like, well, we're all darker than her. She's only light skinned. What was happening here? And I was like, look at my nose. Look at my hips. They don't lie. Whip pride. Anyway, that was a riot. Finally, I didn't know that the trees connect. So they all went and got tested too. And they were like, oh, okay. And then the trees connect. And it was like, you liar.
They got to see the real information. It was like, now let me go see if this is real. Tanya, you ain't right. Listen, we did almost a solid 2 hours today, which was, again, I think a master class. I think, if you don't mind and if you will, an opportunity for you to just share some things, publicly about your stance, and really inform the narrative around your legacy. With that being said, Tanya, is there anyone that in this, I believe, 11 candidate D7 race that you have seen that will, from your peer review, continue on your legacy here, of which I'm a constituent here? And look who just jumped on. Councilor Worrell, you got a whole bunch of shout outs from Tania Anderson today. And if you're free to come on and talk about your hearing in the next few minutes, just text me and we'll get you the link. But Councilor Worrell just jumped on Instagram. And so is there anyone that you see within the race that you feel that will continue your legacy here in District 7?
So my work was based on, and Councilor Worrell and I joke all the time, I used to go in his office and they'd be like, you stole my idea. And no, it's our minds think alike, and he's very data driven. And so my work centered data and really worked on the need, right? And prioritizing the most vulnerable in our community, in our district. And this meant that I had to go to work. I partnered with Northeastern University, Harvard, MIT, BU. Oh, shout out to Ziva Kramer. Oh, amazing human being. Shout out to Lily Song, Professor Song. Anyway, I partnered with universities. I did exactly what people at the door were telling me to do. I'm amazing at tell me what to do. Let's be very clear. And then going to work and making sure and structuring it and engineering it to make it so that it's functional, so that it's productive. And so I heard what you said, constituents of District 7, and I pieced it together. Then I went and I took Brother Chuck's legacy on the roundtable that he had, and I evolved it into an advisory council. I took all the leadership from the civic associations and I brought them together on a weekly basis. So for years we would meet and we would study this data and these researches. We would do action research with universities, as I mentioned. We put together youth groups. We tried to lead differently. Shout out to Councilor Mejia. Please, please, please vote for my girl, Councilor Mejia. She is amazing. She's doing amazing work.
We didn't discuss the at-large race. You said Councilor Mejia, but there's some things in the at-large race that I got some thoughts.
Listen.
Go ahead and finish what you were saying, Tanya.
There's a lot going on in the at-large race. But Councilor Mejia, who led by the way, the city councilor who has passed the most legislation. She is the most effective legislator.
Julia?
Yes. Yes. That firecracker is the most
Listen.
effective because she has charm, because she's brilliant, and because she knows how to network and she knows how to organize with community. So we did that, and then I went to work with my colleagues. I learned a lot from my colleagues. As I mentioned, I filed things with Councilor Jen, Worrell, like all of them. And wherever we had projects, we went to work on the budget. So I was actually, I'll take credit for this, I guess. Oh, God, thank you, God, for being the counselor who delivered the most monies in direct funds from city dollars to an ARPA funds to my district. Second would be Councilor Worrell. And so
you left a legacy, because I got to give it to both of you all. And you were the first. Were you the first Black woman to lead Ways and Means?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was the first Black woman to lead Ways and Means, and in my first term. And so anyway, we did all of this work, and then we created the District 7 workbook. In this workbook, which will be published very soon, and it's finished. It's just going through its editing processes. I created the district's website. So District 7 is the only district that has a website. We created I created its own District 7 app. So District 7 has an app. It's called, Boston District 7. So is the website bostondistrict7.com. And you could go to the app and actually navigate resources, schedule with your counselor. Right now, things are on pause because I'm not there. So hopefully the new counselor will take it on. But then there's all of this research database that we created as well, so that you can actually measure progress with the council. I also did metrics on my own policies. Like, what is my grade? How did I do? And comparing it with the data, the deficits the gaps in the district, as well as, how much work I actually did that actually addressed or aligned with those gaps. And so the District 7 workbook has all of that, all of the research, all of the policies, all of the budget deliverables, but it also has tools, worksheets that you could use to be able to navigate the system, but also advocate and get results. It offers you report cards on how counselors actually voted. Was it in alignment with District 7? Was it in alignment with Boston's policies that we need? And it also gives you finally a lot of different tools in terms of, like, when you go to a meeting, or how to get results, or how to apply for a grant. And it lists all of that for you. It's about almost 400 pages. Now, in observing the District 7 race, of course, I immediately felt like I needed to keep an eye on, who's running, because I wanted to help anyone who was willing, but the person that was going to work the hardest, the person that had like real good intentions for the district, not the person that just felt like it was an opportunity. Oh, Councilor Anderson's out, because we all know, like, it's hard to beat incumbents. So if I was still in, I'm not sure that, folks would have jumped in as much as they did this time, but it was an opportunity. That's what politics is about, right? Likability and opportunity. Are you likable? And is there an opportunity for you to jump in? And so what the hard part is, it's not about qualifications. It's not about whether or not, you can't really determine or discern right away if people have good intentions. So you have to sort of like look at the proof in the pudding, like how much work are they putting in their campaign and their policies. I've looked at people's websites. I called everyone to offer my support, just to, hopefully to see who reacts. And a couple of people responded, a couple of people met with me, but there was one person particularly who has shown determination and has actually led a campaign that I feel is respectful of the district. And that is Saeed Abdi Karim. This man is an amazing human being. He's kind, he is gentle, he's a humble listener. He's someone who seeks, and he's a seeker of knowledge, of information, but he wants to find results to get to address issues in the district. when you look at his policies, they are thoughtful, they are well thought out, they make sense, they're practical. When you look at his campaign, he is active, he's door knocking more than anybody, he is working the hardest, and that's what you want. You want someone that is going to actually put their, not their money, but their action where their mouth is. And this man has a lot of integrity. If you want someone that is going to be honest with you, that is going to hold the administration accountable, and by that I mean build a relationship with the mayor that is going to produce, again, solutions that addresses the needs of District 7. I'm sincerely telling you, like, I don't care about what people are looking like or who they know or the connection. When I came into office, I didn't have connections. The unions did not endorse me. The only union that had my back was Local 26 and 32 BJ. All of the other ones went with Angie Camacho. And all of the political connections was Angie Camacho. I did not get endorsements other than, shout out Liz Miranda, my girl, who endorsed me before the primary. Everybody else, every single elected endorsed me after I won the preliminary. So it's about looking at the person, and in terms of their track record, but also it's about, a certain personality that is going to show up for you, that is going to be consistent, that is going to do the work. And even if they don't have it all the way right, but is that person going to be honest enough and attentive enough to be able to take your concerns and go straight to work? And that is Saeed Abdi Karim. So I implore you, I invite you to join the campaign. I ask you, he needs all the help that he can get. He has been fundraising. He's done a lot of hard work on the doors, great work on the phone. You'll be seeing me and hearing from me to door knock and to start actively campaign and support him. So I pray that Saeed Abdi Karim wins, and I pray that he gets your vote. He's first on the ballot. So please don't forget. And if you want to join the campaign, if you love the work that I did, and you believe that I'm someone that is going to lead you in the right direction for the person that's going to do the work, please vote for Saeed Abdi Karim.
Tania, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us today. And I do not want to take away from what you just said, because I believe it was proven, the legacy you're leaving in the district. However, you mentioned a colleague's name, and I went behind your back and text them the link. And so they're about to jump in and say hello to you real quick. So for those of you, because I got a couple of questions.
Is it our next council president?
No, not him, but I know that yeah. They're probably going to be like, well, what you mean? Not next council president. But all right, let's bring her in real quick, but we'll just recap in a couple of seconds for Sko and Dina, who Tania Anderson is supporting and endorsed. But without further ado, let's bring in a colleague who you just mentioned and gave flowers to. And I think it's so important for our women to see this publicly, that our Black women can celebrate one another and give flowers. And so, hey, Counselor.
Hey, I came incognito, right, with a hat on and a little suit jacket. You don't know what I have underneath all of this. So I just want you to know I came through because my girl was here, James, and you let me know. So
this is forgive the look. In fairness to Counselor, I literally said, she just said something about you. If you're free, just pop on. And so, Counselor, please go ahead, and anything that you would like to say to Tania Fernandes Anderson, please do so. The floor is yours.
Absolutely. And so you know how much I love and appreciate my sister, so much so that I came out here without my eyelashes on or lipstick, because I would not miss out an opportunity to share space with you like this publicly, because, since you left that chamber, it has not been the same there without you. You were literally my secret weapon. You helped me navigate the political procedural poop that I have to navigate. And you knew the rules. You knew the rules, and you knew the game. And you taught me so much about how to really navigate the political process, because I didn't come in like you with a lot of understanding of the ins and outs of the political machines and how they operate here. So I just want to say thank you for always holding me up, for lifting me up, for speaking life into me when I felt defeated. And that's what sisterhood is really all about. You know, you challenged me, I challenged you, we challenged each other, but more importantly, we stood firm for the people that we were here to fight for. And we did so relentlessly and unapologetically and as authentic as we really are, right? And so, you know, I just want to say thank you for your leadership. The PowerPoint presentation you put together, we're talking about how you set your district up for success so that no matter who steps in to that role, they have a roadmap. And more importantly, you have engaged constituents who are going to hold whoever is in that seat accountable to the people. And that is the greatest gift that you can give those that you have served, is giving them the knowledge and the power and the tools that they need to hold down District 7. So I just want to let you know that what you created in the blueprint, on the D7 app and the website, like, you were 100% all about your district, and no one fought harder for their district than you did. So I just want to say thank you to you for your leadership and your sisterhood. And, you know, just for your grace. I learned so much from you as you juggled, you know, everything that we have been through together, and in front of the camera and behind the camera. So I just wanted to come through and appreciate you and give you your flowers. I'm gonna have to go back to the tape to hear what you said about me, but you know, the fact that James,
you passed the most legislative or ordinances.
oh yeah,
yeah,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
You were the most effective legislator on that council.
Yeah, and I think what happens to that point, James, I want you to know, is that people underestimate me because I have a very playful demeanor. But what people fail to realize is that when it comes to my people, I don't play games, right? And so I have been committed to making sure that I leave that place better than what I found it. And 20 pieces of legislation that I've either led on or co-sponsored and got through the finish line speak volumes to my commitment and to my effective leadership, regardless of whether or not I'm degreed up or polished or super political. I don't need to be all of those things. I leave that to other people. I'm from these streets, you know, and that is valuable. And people need to know that this type of leadership can also go into that chamber and make things happen. And I think that that's what Councilor Anderson did in her time, is to demonstrate that we didn't walk in there. No one carried us in there. We walked in there with the people, right? And the people have been the ones that we've been leading with. And that is all you need, are the people that you serve, and to serve them with dignity and relentless conviction. And you make things happen. You don't need political brokers or political, you know, interest folks out here. That's why I run as an independent voice. I'm not with anybody's camp. You know, I'm not endorsing anybody. And I'm not asking anyone to endorse me. You know why? Because that undermines, for me, my ability to hold anyone accountable. So whoever that mayor is, whoever's in that seat, my job is to fight them. I fought Marty, I fought Mayor Janey. My job is to fight and to advocate on behalf of the people. And that's why I don't choose a side, because either side is everybody. Once you come through the council, our job is to hold the administration accountable to the people. So for me to endorse any mayoral candidate undermines democracy and my ability to hold them accountable. I don't owe anybody anything, only the people that I serve. And with that, that gives me a level of flexibility to be unapologetic, and unafraid to fight for my people. And so I take on the posture on White Stadium, stopping the O'Brien from moving to West Roxbury. I was able to do all of those things because I don't owe anybody any favors. I don't owe anybody but my people. And so I love you, Tania. Thank you for standing with me. Thank you for helping guide me through the political poop that I had to learn how to do. I'm still learning, y'all, but we're making things happen. And I look forward to continuing working with you in and outside, because inside and outside game is what this moment is calling for. we're going to need everybody, right? Everybody organizing together. So I know you're going to, you know, our work together has not ended. It's just going to take on a different form. And on the inside and outside, we're going to bring about change. And thank you for your leadership. And I hope to continue to represent D7 alongside you. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. And did you want to say anything, Tanya? Back, Counselor came in and did what she does. Go ahead, Tanya.
First of all, like, you know, Counselor Mejia, to me, you're such a beautiful human being, and you are absolutely right. I always say this to you, I think you're brilliant. I think that you are an innovator. I think that when I say you're a seeker, I mean that you really invest in your self-development, but you invest in the self-development of your people. And this means that you are intentionally and effectively looking for ways. When it's not legislation, it's a program. When it's not a program, it's a budget amendment. When it's not that, it's some sort of event or activity. But in the end, how I measure what people's impact and intention is in the results. And you are about your business. You bring results. And you're fierce. You're a quiet storm, if that makes sense, because you're brilliant, but you're not, you know, advertising that all the time, but it shows in your work. Never, ever, ever again second guess yourself, not for a second. Let no one make you guess whether or not you are qualified. You are the qualified woman that is there. And I appreciate you for your intentions. May God bless you always. You know, you can lean into me, whatever you need. I am there for you. And you are going to shine and come out and smelling like roses, as always.
I just got to say that, you know, away from, you know, the politics and everything, I need our Black women to really lean in. Julia, lean into this space with the affirmations, that as tough as it is. And Counselor, you know, Julia, going back to that meeting on 193 Norfolk Street, you first ran, you know, we see what it is that both of you have to carry. So in this moment, really unintended, I hope that both of you walk away with encouragement from one another, that you remember these flowers, smell them when you can. And, you know, one, this is evergreen, so you can always go back to social media in a moment and just look at this and see this. But I love this impromptu moment of two queens loving and affirming one another in this space. And so I want to thank both of you. And Tanya, and I can't let you go yet, but Julia, any, you know, response? I said, I do not mean to evoke emotions here.
No, I'm a crybaby. And I cried when Counselor Anderson gave her a farewell love letter to the council. And, you know, it's heavy to see your colleagues publicly lynched. And so it has been very traumatizing. And, you know, Tanya, I think that you have been such an example of what it looks like to have grace. And so just I want you to know that you have been such an amazing role model for so many of us, to understand that they can do everything to us, but they can't take away our hope and our faith and our ability to fight back. So you've just been an amazing example. So thank you.
To both of you, thank you. Councilman here, I know you got to get ready. There's the HBCU hearing today, and so I know there's other stuff to go. So thank you for jumping in so quickly, and thank you for this impromptu moment of love. And thank you, sis.
Thank you. Don't judge me because I don't have on makeup. Y'all so better vote for me, okay? Bye.
You do.
Okay. Bye.
You're giving very Inspector Gadget. I'm glad she got off because she would have been. What, James? I just really, that was an awesome moment. And so it got, you know, we shared you know, who you believe will support and carry the legacy. But, you know, the council jumped in and I'm in the background like,
You said, do, 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 do. I show up and show out. No, sir.
No, she reminds me, she had on the Inspector Gadget outfit, but she reminds me of, what was his niece's name?
Oh, I don't remember, but I remember the girl. I remember the character.
Yes, she was a smart one that was always going around and figuring stuff out.
Right. So Inspector Gadget was actually, a moron, but yeah.
No, this was definitely amazing. I encourage you to go back, you know, and look at the comments. We do have another candidate over on IG that you know doesn't agree with you know that, but I think that you can appreciate.
Doesn't agree with what?
The who you picked to support. I just wanted to acknowledge that because there was another candidate in the room, and you know, balance in these space.
Oh, a D7 candidate.
Yeah.
And who was that?
Huh?
Who was that? I'm sorry, I can't see the comments.
I know it was Brother Wawa.
Well, yeah, I understand. Of course, he's going to disagree. I appreciate and love Brother Wawa.
Yes, a lot of great work.
And I do think that he has a lot of heart. I believe that Saeed Abdi Karim is the best qualified right now. Right now, in this time, right now, he is the most prepared. He is ready, and I think they both have great qualities. But yeah, especially Brother Wawa.
And he's one similar to, like you, I said the other day, that, you know, a true test of a candidate's or incumbents, a measure of commitment to community is that you will still be in the work even if you don't win. And so that brother, we can definitely.
Or maybe he's not ready this time. Maybe he didn't have the team in his campaign that, you know, proved his policies. Like, I want to read about his policies. I want to read about his work. I want to see it. And he does have a track record in Nubian foundations, and as well as his own job, his own nonprofit. But again, who has worked the hardest and who has shown the integrity? And out of the entire race, I have to say, Brother Wawa was Brother Wawa and Saeed Abdi Karim were my two. And then I picked the one again that worked the hardest, that had the best campaign, that showed the track record that they can do the work. And it doesn't mean that, again, like you said, people can't. It's just right now, it doesn't look like that the person that is most ready is Saeed Abdi Karim.
Yes, ma'am. Tania, I think this goes in at least one of the top 10 longest in the last 5.5 years. But I thought it was important, one, for people to understand the legacy. I was very intentional about the legacy of what you leave. And then also that informs from your peer view as the person exiting the seat, that, you know, that is your, you know, observation and suggestion. And, you know, I mentioned, because, you know, we have a candidate, and he said his integrity is 100, as you said. So, it's this space of Boston Poly. Oh, good. Like I said before, I don't know if I finished the statement. Sometimes there's a disadvantage because it's just a lot to manage. Along with the tech piece. Oh God, Charlene said we've been so long. She took a meeting and she came back. But it was important. It was really important. And I think also the piece of you and Julia, you know, loving on one another, that definitely is a great demonstration. And you all probably haven't always agreed on every single solitary policy, but you know what I mean, to still have the ability to love on one another. You know what I mean? So
there's literally been times where I say to Julia, she'll say, do you want to sign on to this? Can you work with me on this? And I'll say, nope. And she'll say, and she knows I will never hesitate. And she'll say, well, why not? And I'll say, well, I just don't think, I think that the administration might be doing this already. Or she'll point out something else. She'll say, well, because, and we have to do it in this angle, because. And then I'll say, it makes sense to you. For me, I'm in this position where I have to answer to my constituents on this level. Like, so there are different reasons.
District versus at large. Your priority is the district, not saying that the councilors isn't, but again.
But her priority is everybody.
Is that at large, and that's real. Yeah.
or that there are certain angles that she's trying to go about to address something that's pending, and my priority might be something else. And this is the thing about politics, that in the moment I might prioritize a policy that the administration is willing to work with me on, and if that's the case, then I go with that. And if they say to me, can you not make policy B a priority because we want to stall that because we may not have the funding, or we may not be able to prioritize that right now. And then I'll be able to say, okay, well, for a moment, how long? Because that is a priority too. And then you have those conversations back and forth. And then you may pause a thing, but hopefully you never, ever, ever, ever compromise your moral compass. And you figure out how to get results the best way possible. And you may have to tell a Councilor Mejia, I'm not going to side with you on this just yet because I need to get this done.
There is, there's so much, and maybe we can have you back between the general and the primary, because again, I said the other day, there's a difference between civics and politics. And I think that, Boston Poly is changing, ing, but it hasn't changed yet. And I believe we're on a road, to that. And so with the type of candidates like Brother Wawa, with all these black and brown people, black men, black women, Tashad, there were 2 women that were running, for District 7 as well. And so it's just amazing to see that. And we need people like yourself, from community. And as you mentioned, you see that with Brother Saeed as well. Without being too, Brother Saeed had a little accident. And as men, we got to take care of ourselves. So just keep him in your prayers. Keep all of our civic leaders and candidates in your prayers as well, because very interesting times across the board right now.
The campaign can have extraneating, impacts, right? So he actually pulled a ligament in his back, which is excruciating pain, and he was in the ER all night yesterday. And so, anyway, as far as like the candidates that are running, Roy Owens has a literature that's going out, and I wanted to clarify this because he has a literature going out that it says,
where some of his backing is coming from in this race for the purpose of derailing the
that
don't forget
that I can say it's very obvious, because Roy Owens does not raise money. Roy Owens doesn't report to OCPF. Roy Owens, he just doesn't raise any money, and so he's a serial candidate, for those of you who don't know, and I'm sure everybody here knows, but Roy Owens said that I was working with the Taliban last term. He said that I was a terrorist. He said a lot of harmful things. And then I'll come up to Uncle Roy and I say, Uncle Roy, because it's bullying if you know better and you're trying to like be mean to Uncle Roy, right? So I don't want. Yes, and he's homophobic, and he is xenophobic, and he has a lot of phobias. So what I did with Uncle Roy is I would do turkey drives with him for his church, or I would, because it's about the people, not about Roy, about Roy and his cult that votes for Roy. And so Roy, and I think some people, for those of you watching, please, educate people. Some people think that he is the original Owens.
No, he is no. And they used to go around some years ago. He's been running so long. I remember when they used to have to go out and dispel the fact that he ain't kin to us.
He is not, right. He is not Councilor Bill Owens. He is Roy Owens. And anyway, Roy has very dangerous language, very dangerous narratives and policies. And he is either senile, so we can't blame him because God forgives what in Arabic we say majnoon, the mentally ill, or he is he ain't right, like he just ain't right. So like
just to keep it simple, he ain't right.
So like, but again, like I go out with Roy. I take him out for lunches and I sit with him and I listen to him just like I talk to any other constituent, because he is a constituent, and he says stuff that I just be like, but you listen and we
listen and we don't judge.
And so that's Roy. Then there's Jerome King, who I also believe we have to have a lot of patience and grace with. I think in our community we have a lot of people that we have to address, like different, needs, mental health needs, and I think that some folks out there don't really understand what they're doing, and not like he doesn't know politics, more because I didn't know politics, but more like I don't think I think the brother is working with very little
Jerome King.
resources. Jerome King.
I gotta look him up.
Yeah, and then you have Hurtado, who works for the city, who worked for Kim Janey, Sam Hurtado, who worked for Kim Janey, but it's very much like anything Mayor Wu says, anything she says, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, beep, beep, bop. Like, what is going on? Like, you're literally a different branch of government. Your job is literally to hold the other branch accountable. Like, what are you talking about? So that doesn't fly. And then, Kim Janey herself did not endorse and says she's going to stay out of it. But that was your chief of staff. So that speaks volumes. Then you have the Culpepper. Brother Culpepper, I don't know what's going on, but Brother Culpepper is a developer. Brother Culpepper is also a reverend. And Brother Culpepper also wants to be a politician. And
he's a developer? I mean, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. Brian came in.
Becoming one. He has a property that he is developing that he was seeking support from my office to do right there on Humboldt Avenue. Yes, he's developing housing.
I'm sorry, I'm not looking at this. I saw a comment and I'm trying to stay focused, Tanya. So again, I ain't looking at the comments. I did not know that. And for transparency, my grandparents, with his grandfather, helped start that church. There's relationship. So again, it's we appreciate your perspective because it comes informed. It comes, and it's not necessarily, and you're not disparaging anybody else. You're calling attention to where some help needs to be, and where some support needs to come in place in various ways, and maybe just a little bit of time, as well. So it's oh Jesus.
People just don't have real reasons why they are running, and they don't have real policy solutions to address the needs, and they don't have real intentions because it's followed by this sort of like rinky-dink type of campaign. They're door knocking, but they're not, and then their signs are off, and just the image is stretched, and it looks like a party flyer. And it's just not real. It's not respectful. It's not respectful. And Black people, especially, I say Black people because, majority is Black and brown in D7, and white people. People of D7 deserve respect. And with this campaign, and the campaigns are just not respectful. They're disrespectful. They're just, I think I'm going to run. And then it's like, well, do you have a campaign? Do you know what this is about? Do you know that this impacts people's lives? And what are your policies? And so for the majority of them, even a person like Maverick, you have, Marty Walsh's support, and you have all these like billboards up and everything else. But what are your policy positions? It's like he mimics and says everything the administration tells him to do. Same thing with Samuel, except he's so performative. He's so robotic that I question like his real reasons for doing it. And then there's Wawa and Saeed Abdi Karim, who are like really nice guys. But Wawa has not demonstrated, or at least he didn't get the support to get a really good campaign out. And so, but then you have like Saeed, who's like who went to the ground and like, blood, sweat, and tears. And you see all this work. And that's what I want to see. I want to see a worker. I want to see someone not only that has heart and integrity, but that has like this work ethic, because it is a lot of work. And if you're somebody, like some of these counselors who just want to take pictures, who just want to kiss the babies and whatever, like what the heck? No, we don't need any more of that. And we certainly don't need another person to just co-sign everything the mayor says and wants, because that is not the purpose of the city council. That is not the way it's supposed to work. There's supposed to be some push and pull and some negotiations and conversations, because the mayor's purview, again, is limited and can be compromised by the people that's under her. You need accountability body. You need the government to work the way it's supposed to. But Boston is already mayor strong. And now you have the mayor endorsing a whole bunch of people, like people that I don't even want to name. Don't vote for these people. Don't vote for the people that she's endorsing, because it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like, why do you have what's that, the Latina's name? Alvarez. Why do you have her running? Why do you have her running? Mayor Wu, why do you have her running? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You have a Councilor Mejia who holds you accountable, who has conversations with you, who wants to meet with you, who works with you, who is the most effective legislator, who is a woman of color, an Afro-Latina, who people love, who is effective. Why are you doing that? Why are you hurting her? Why are you doing that? That's not okay. Again, this is not disparaging Mayor Wu, because I'm not a believer of doing that, like of looking at people, because I'm not qualified to judge people as a whole. But at the same time, it's like, Mayor Wu, your action, like, that is not okay. Another Dominican competing in the race that a Dominican already has. It's the same way you brought Santana in. Now people say that Santana is not really effective. And so that he's just a standing body, that he's not doing anything. And even if he tries, let's say he wasn't ready, let's say he was young and he's trying, it's not fair to him. He wasn't ready. And now you got him just co-signing your votes, co-signing everything you say, just so you can have pass everything in the body. You already have Rudy. You already have Sharon Durkin. You already have Weber. You already have, who else is on Mayor Wu's side? Braden is sometimes. Weber most times, because I did the survey, I checked. And then you have, and then Worrell, no, he's for the Black people for sure. Maybe once or twice he's voted with just with Wu, but because he believed in it. And that's the thing about what people don't understand about Councilor Worrell too. Yes, he has a backbone. He is gentle, but gentle doesn't.
Oh, but he's like what Julia said about you.
Exactly.
He's a little silent storm.
Yeah, he's gentle, but gentle doesn't, like, we don't need a toxic masculinity. He's a masculine leader. He is a man who believes in his conviction and he's doing his job. He doesn't need to come out rah, 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 so you can see masculinity, so you can believe that he's a leader. That is just not true. Don't believe people when they talk like that and shut them down. We don't need people. We don't need that. We need to give grace to our Black leaders. So you have, Mayor Wu, you have enough people on your side. You have Flynn, who is just going against the status quo, who is innately and probably inherently racist and probably doesn't know his own biases.
Okay, we're just talking.
And
okay,
then
go ahead.
And you got Flynn, who just disagrees with you, Mayor Wu, just to disagree with you.
Even if it's good.
It doesn't even make any sense anymore. He's a decent guy, he's a gentleman, he's respectful, but then he comes up with the soft demeanor, but he's a political animal like the best of them. He grew up in that stuff. That stuff came from the crib with him. So he knows exactly what he's doing. He's not an idiot. Just because he has this soft, slow delivery, he's not slow. He's not stupid.
He's calculated.
He's bright. He's calculated. He knows his stuff. And then you have Miss Epitome of everything white racist woman on the council.
Jesus.
Erin Murphy. Erin Murphy is ineffective, so no one really pays attention.
But she's a vote.
No, wait. She's sitting there and she has her purpose. They want her there, and they want her to serve her purpose, to vote in the way that they want her to vote. So she serves her purpose. But she's ineffective because she doesn't pass legislation. She's a legislator who doesn't pass legislation. And so she actually, and then when you look at programmatic stuff, what is Erin Murphy doing to support the Black community, the brown community, the Latino community?
In fairness, there are some people, because I've gotten, because I call her out a little bit, and I'll get text and phone calls, about what she does, in the Black community. And so
what she does, let me tell you what she does.
Uh-oh.
When white politicians are elected, when a white person is elected, they go into City Hall. City Hall immediately embraces them and gives them all the connections. City Hall immediately, so Erin Murphy already has the connection to get things resolved in city services. So people will call you and say, for the people that are calling James and saying, but she is effective because she gets things done. When I call, she's the one that will answer. She's the one that will respond and result. Well, the Black electeds or people of the elected of color are already so overwhelmed with all of the things because everybody goes to us. Everybody goes to us. So whenever something is sort of like spilling on the side, then she's dealing with the residuals. She's not dealing with the bulk of the work. The bulk of the work is me, Mejia, Worrell, Rudy. Like that's who's dealing with the bulk of the work. Aaron Murphy is not dealing with the bulk of the work. And even Rudy, who, people might be like, are you like, some people will say, well, she's fake and she's full of herself and blah, blah, blah. They feel she's very self-centered. My thing with Rudy is, again, give the Black woman in politics grace. She is coming in and she's learning. Yeah, she could be a little self-centered, but that's the Leo. I don't give a crap. What I care about is her policy and how she moves. When Rudy had to come out and be like, Councilor Anderson should resign. Yeah, but white media, y'all would have murdered her. Y'all would have dragged her down the street had she said otherwise. So do I come out and say, oh, Rudy, you hypocrite? What about? No. We give grace and we have to be patient and we take a step back. Be patient with her evolutionary process. Be patient with her development, as you would with white women, as you would with anybody else. Humanize her and give her time. Do I agree when she wholeheartedly goes all woo, all woo, all woo? Sometimes I tell her, like, hey, Rudy, maybe that's not the policy you want to align with, whatever. But she'll say, like, no, like, I really do believe that. So there's some of this thing where we're quick to jump down people's throat when they're Black and brown, because they're our own, they're close to us.
Come here.
And then we're not, again, Rudy has her issues. Yes, she does. But I'm not going to be out in no white media talking about, oh, she stank, or she this, she that, she this. And I mean, sorry, I don't mean that. That's not a pun. And I mean like she's bad or whatever. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And then you got Aaron Murphy spewing out racist, freaking commentary and narrative all day. But she has Aaron, alhamdulillah, I'm not perfect. I have my thing. I'm going to go back to my, remembering God. I'm not going to talk about your tea, Aaron. We're not going to go there. But Aaron, girl.
What happened with, you won't say it, but I will. Go ahead. Sorry.
Girl, you're messy ghetto behind. Like, she's so ghetto.
You cannot be the queen of moralistic behavior within city council chambers. And so go ahead. I'm just, because she tried it on a few levels with you.
She tried it with everybody. And
yes.
The thing about Aaron is that, like, I told Aaron, I said, Aaron, I'm the person who's the nicest to you. Why are you always coming for me? Why are you always trying to be famous on my infamousness? Like, why are you doing that? Like, leave me alone. Leave me alone, Aaron. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to fight with you. And then she'll come back and she'll be like, oh, Councilor Anderson, and this is it. And be quiet. Sit down. You are ghetto. You're ghetto and messy. And you get into the stuff where you want to disagree with Wu. But you're disagreeing. Aaron, we're not going to weaponize your crap. You're not going to weaponize your racism, because you're disagreeing is just because you don't like Wu because she's Asian and she's a woman and she's in leadership and she's a boss. And that's why you get like that. I disagree with Mayor Wu on like maybe more than half of the crap that Mayor Wu does, and dislike the way she doesn't prioritize us. But I'm not going to disagree with her on some superfluous bullshit. And that's what Aaron does. She's hateful and she's spiteful. And and I feel bad for Aaron because she has a sad story. Like, she's been through a lot. And so as a woman, as a mother, I look at Aaron, I'm like, Aaron, you need love. Like, you need embrace. Like, you need, and so like, I really truly try to be friendly with her. But she's so freaking spiteful. You would think all the crap she went through made her humble. Like, she's mad evil. She's always trying to get somebody, but it's based on, again, because you're on the other side, Aaron, because you don't understand our identity, because you don't humanize us. And that, my dear, is ghetto behind and messy, and you're racist. And it's plain for everybody to see. Everybody knows she sucks. Everybody knows she sucks. And Black people, when she does something for you, say, thank you for doing your job, and walk away.
Tanya, some of the people that know and love you talking about we're going to need to wear helmets. We're going to need to out in the street here. This reality and experience of some of the dynamics that goes on behind the scenes is interesting. And again, no expert, but certainly no novice. And a lot of
do you know how much look, do you know how much I disagree with Rudy? And do you know how much I do think Rudy's full of herself? But I will refuse to allow Aaron Murphy and Ed Flynn to go against her just because she's an intelligent Harvardite, Black, all of that in leadership. And they're like, I just don't like her. I just don't like her. She's not a nice person. Huh?
I'm good. You know, I believe in protecting Black women, and I'm because I know trolls are watching, and I know I'm probably going to get a couple of texts. I'm probably going to get a couple of phone calls. Be careful.
Protect that Black woman. Protect.
I'm talking about you.
Oh, yes, but listen. One thing I learned, especially with the media, they'll come at you and they'll be like, bah, 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 and your heart feels like it's sinking out of your body. And it's not fear. It's this level of anxiety, you know, and you don't know what to do with it. It's this energy that comes to you. You don't know what to do with it. It's like fight or flight. You're being attacked. And then I had to remind myself one day, what is the worst? Like, what can they actually do? Oh, they're not God. They're not God. And so, like, you see the media, and we know our problem is Black communities. We don't have enough media. We don't have. That's why it's important for us.
Tanya, we gonna be here another hour? Jesus.
No. I'll stop here. The Black community, we don't have enough media. So here comes the white media, and you know they talk about all this nonsense, and I'm like, wait, I owe my landlord money? No, I don't. Like, I'm not gonna get into my personal stuff, but I'm telling you, I sat there and saw lies after lies after lies after lies, and I'm sitting there like, they're just gonna say it. I'm walking. Councilor Anderson's walking out with her furniture from her office. Yeah, what do you want me to do? Give it to me and whoop? I pay for it. It's mine. I'm gonna take it out.
And that's the thing, because I had to say that, Tanya. We're not
crazy. Anyway,
because go ahead. I'm sorry.
We Black people have to hold them accountable, and we don't have the power to. Atlanta's doing a great job at that. Atlanta's looking at Boston like we're the example for the Black, Black future, Black art and Black TV. But what Atlanta doesn't know is how deprived Black people are in Boston. And then you have so many of us looking at, this facade of like the tokens and all the Black people that get hired in the city or the people that get in contracts. But when you compare in numbers, oh, come on, like we're getting crumbs. We are not getting anything. And white people know this very well. The thing that we don't do is we don't study them enough. We don't know exactly how they're planning. And we're always chasing the carrot. Like we are so behind. And so we have to fight who? Mayor Wu? Mayor Wu's the problem? Yeah, her decision-making is not prioritizing us. But you know what we didn't do? We didn't create the offensive plan. We didn't do the preemptive solution thing. We didn't say, Mayor Wu, when this is what we got to do. Yes, she avoids meetings. Yes, she doesn't engage when you disagree with her. She does. All of that stuff is true. However, we're ill prepared and ill resourced, and we don't have the tools. We are not equipped to be able to say that it's all on her, because that's giving her all of the power. We, the community, have to do a better job and begin to create solutions, agendas in our own kitchen, in our own basements, just like they do. They be doing LLCs and just creating stuff and lie, and it's just them and their cousin. There's not an actual corporation going on, and we don't do that though. We think we have to have like board meetings and huge things happening so we can actually be effective. And then we say, oh, it's the mayor. No, we pull it back to us. Yes, she's not prioritizing us, but how are we going to organize to hold her accountable?
that I think there is a good end note, Tanya, because that is one of the things, and I've said this, I love Mayor Wu, I love Michelle, I love Shelley. I know a lot of people that love, respect, and care for Josh. We also have to name that there is a third and fourth candidate. Shout out to Domingos De Rosa, who is a mayoral candidate, valid mayoral candidate that 2.8 versus Capuccio's 0.8% in that last poll. He did poll. The agenda piece and it being bigger than the both of them. And I know you gave balance on, national supremacy and the influence of it here, but there's challenges as they are, and we can't, as it sounds like a November, but we can't go back with all this stuff that you named, not stuff, with everything that you named. We just have to continue to do, no matter what or who wins, we do have to do some of our shadow work as a community, and there'll be a whole after dark around coming together on a Black agenda. And I won't come because you called the meeting and such, oh, you won't come, and all that other stuff. We got to figure it out, especially in a time, Tanya, where there is an active movement to erase us, our culture, our history, our contributions. You know what I mean? And we haven't even got into we talked about race. We haven't even gotten to the fact that how nationally these white patriarchal men don't like the fact that women are leading.
I can't get into the whole thing about women leading and all that stuff because I'm African. I'm sorry, I'm Black. We know about how we know.
Come on, teach. I'm going to let
that's white women agenda. Like, I don't want to talk about tampons and birthrights. Stop. I don't want to talk about it. Like, those are safe policies that people jump on because they know that white women will back them or these liberals will back them and then they can pass it. Like progressives, Democrats, whatever. Like,
who's really progressed and who's progressing them and who's at the front of the progressive movement? Now that's something
Black women. So like I think that we have to call it what it is, or if you don't call it, keep your mouth shut, do something about it, educate yourself and really understand like the true changes. Like this progressive movement of like, oh, we are, progressive, we're all one. No, we're not. There's racism within like the LGBT community. There's all this stuff happening and who gets the job, who doesn't get the job. Like, no, we're not. And then white liberals, you're liberal, but then, bike lanes takes precedence over me getting like feeding my baby and going to base care. So bike lanes first, and you're liberal, but then like, it's policies about like tampons and birthrights. But when I tell you that I needed a job and I needed to build myself up so I can have the autonomy to be able to move around like you, then that's not a priority. Like, no. You're only liberal for the policies that you think, and then progressives, Black electeds, also fall victim to this, or not victim, or they become complacent, where they then jump on the bandwagon of all the policies that are easy to pass. When you see people passing stuff about, just environment or just transportation or just tampons or just birthrights, like what about the thing that's going to keep us alive?
The sustainable thing that addresses a couple of the other things that on the surface you want to address. But let's address what a term that we don't hear too much anymore. Let's address the root cause. If we address the root cause, then some of that other stuff automatically gets addressed. Sorry.
If the root cause is investing in our social determinants of health, and you measure Boston, you look at Boston, and housing becomes a priority just because it's very popular and people capital matter in order for you to keep your seat, then you do housing and you check off boxes and you say a bunch of housing. But when you actually go and look at the numbers in housing as well, you know that we are never going to reach the part where we actually build truly affordable. And now we have a term, truly affordable, deeply affordable, which is so oxymoronic. Like okay, wait a minute. We're going to build housing, but you're going to do mixed income or IDPs, even at 70 or 25% IDP. Then within those IDPs, some of them are affordable and some of them are 70%.
What's the IDP? So we can educate the people. Independent. I don't know. What's IDP?
You're going to make me look up. I don't know.
Go ahead. You keep talking. I'll look it up.
Yeah, you look it up. But you have basically the units that is given off of development. I'm sorry, the acronym does escape me. Basically, when you look at the numbers, and how long it takes to build, and developers will hold off the process because they don't actually have the money or the bank to give them the loan yet to build. So developers will slow down the process and make it seem like it's just a city. It's not the city, because the city has built, which I think Mayor Wu was very smart, to build one incubator where the process goes through so that it's streamlined, so that it's less cumbersome. And that is a good policy that I agree with. Shout out to Mayor Wu for this. That I think that she was smart to do, or her team was smart to do. And now you have to wait. So the developers will be like, oh, the bank and the money, and they don't actually have it because the increase of cost of construction, and they can't build fast enough. So even if someone like, Chief Dillon, who does an amazing job at increasing all of these affordable housing, is pushing and in bringing money, but you're giving them to CDCs, nonprofits that impoverish our community. So CDCs, for example, Madison Park CDC, who says that they were going to give back the money, I'm sorry, not the money, the properties back, like a rent to own, so that you can own it back. After 30 years or some, they still haven't done it. They haven't kept their word. And they are about 300 million. And they'll say this is inaccurate. They'll say, well, the figures are not really 300 million, 300 million cash on hand. Why does a nonprofit CDC that is supposed to give back land, commoditizing Black land, holding on all of this land, and then having all this money cash on hand, even if it's 200 million? You know what they said? The reason why we're only giving $100,000 for first-time home buyers program is because we're a nonprofit and we're not allowed. Also, you have more money, so you could do more. And so after all of this back and forth with them, we talked about, rent to own. I developed this rent to own program, and it got piloted with Sheila. Sheila worked with me and figure out how to make it work. It's being piloted in Brighton. And the land that, what's Ayanna Presley's husband's name? Conan and John Barrows got, the Boston Water and Sewer, they are supposed to be doing one of the buildings as rent to own, right? But even when you do that, when you look at the numbers, let's say it's 30,000 people that are homeless. That number keeps increasing and it keeps going. But lately, in the last 5 years, it's been steadily in the same bracket. It hasn't been increasing, around 30,000 people. Even if it's 30,000 consistently homeless people in need of housing, you're not going to be able to address that housing if you can only build about 3,000 to 5,000 units. And then out of that, there's only like 200 affordable. And so how are we ever going to house people? Even if you do that, even if you increase the stock so that you can offset the market, so that you can make a property affordable, so that you're not increasing in tax and property value, you are still not building fast enough. And so that's why I tell people, the problem is not development. We need to develop more. As a thriving city, you have to develop, you have to move forward. But the problem is in the process itself, that developers don't have the money to develop because of the cost of construction, and also because the city is not investing enough money so that it can offset the balance, so we can get more IDP units.
The IDP is a inclusionary dependent inclusionary. Hold on, I just had it. Inclusionary development policy.
And we have, we've increased it to 25% of the property. So meaning when you build a building, 25% of that is supposed to go towards that IDP. But not all IDP will go towards in the AMI that you bracket that you can afford, even though some of them are low affordable in the 30s.
Annual medium income.
Yes.
AMI. Okay. We want to teach people.
And annual, the medium income is not calculated based on your income here in Dorchester. It's also maybe with Newton or Brookline, and you know what I mean, and just some sort of district sort of areas that they calculate, which is stupid, because then your money is not the same as Brookline or whatever, vice versa. And so it creates this whole lot of red tapes, and that you can't get over, because you're like, well, your median income is this, average median income is this area is maybe 70th percentile. No, it's not. I'm actually in the 30th, and Roxbury's income is average in the 20s, 20,000, and the lowest, I think, 19,000. And the older you get past 60, you get more poor, more towards 19,000 income. And the younger you get under 25 or 30, you're also in the 19,000 salary bracket. So Roxbury's is actually average AMI is around 40 to 50, which is very, very, very low. And then our income is average between 19,000 and 30. Like we're actually very, very, very poor. And then I think first to that is Mattapan, and we're like the second poorest neighborhood in Boston.
This is why, and again, it goes back to the point of like a master class. And at some point, you know, my mother's in here talking about, yeah, she need to come back. But education, and this is, you know, we've been here, oh Jesus, almost 3 hours.
All right. I'm sorry.
No. What I mean is that people are walking away. The afterwatch, people are going to go and whatever. There was so much shared here today, Tania, that it just is. I'm almost a little bit on overload because my brain is. I'm hearing you say stuff, and I'm like, wait. So then that means that And what we advocated for in the affordable housing is the Welcome Home program. I'm sure you're aware of MTK development, what Family Movement is doing. So we're trying to do some things, but it almost seems like it's not enough. And so we got to become more aggressive in our organizing and also in our demanding.
We're not going to catch up.
Thank you.
We're not going to catch up. That's the reality. We should start conversations with the public by saying we're not going to catch up. We should say when we do the math, we project that not even within 50 years we'll catch up. Go do the math for yourself. We're not going to catch up. We're always going to have a homeless issue. We're always going to have a housing crisis. We're always going to displace. And there's no development, by the way. There's no such thing as, oh, if we do it responsibly, we will not displace people. There is no development without displacement.
Even if it's temporary, it's still some displacement. Just in the best case scenario, even if you got to move them out to fix, it's still some displacement at the minimum.
Yes. What happens is you can develop, and a certain percentage of that, again, with IDP policies and stuff like that, we can go to like a certain level of addressing like some people. You can't, by HUD policies, which is federal, like you cannot exclude people from who gets prioritized at housing. So you can't tell someone that comes from Idaho that Roxbury has to get that housing first, because you're also a little bit of educating us, a little bit skating on the lines of the immigration piece as well. Because there's some things that are federally mandated that Mora had to do, thank you. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah. So when we get federal dollars or when we get monies, certain monies like HUD money, we cannot say prioritize local residents. And so no matter what, you get this money that comes in to do this housing, but you can't say out of the shelter, only certain people can get it. Immigrants do not qualify for anything that is federally funded. So immigrants cannot get Section 8. Their child can get a prorated Section 8, meaning that for that rent, they automatically pay 50% for themselves because they don't have a green card. And then the other 50%, then you calculate the 30% for their child. So it's a prorated version. If they were going to pay only $300 for that rent, they're now going to pay, maybe $2,300 because the rent was like $4,000. Either way, it's a prorated version because they don't qualify. What they qualify for is under the Don't Ask, Don't Tell bill, where they don't have to say, I don't have a green card. And so for state funded, right, projects like the projects, they qualify for that. That's why you see a lot of certain demographic in the projects. You cannot,
Oh, Jesus. Shad said there's literally a book about that. It's called 15 Cents on the Dollar. Okay. Hold on. Black Organizing Committee. I've heard of them. I don't know who.
Shout out to Chad. Again, like I like you a lot. I like to Chad. And again, I'm going with the candidate that I think has put out the work to do this job.
I almost said the C word, Tania, which is an indicator I'm pooped. And for me, that is a exchange, virtue. Like we've talked about some very things that are personal to both of us that impact the quality of life for people that we love and serve for. And so Tasha say, hey T, hey, We definitely have to have you back, Tanya. And when you feel that you need to come back and make us aware, I know you're watching things go on. Feel free to tip. Well, we do anyway. But hey, Jimmy, just want to bring this to your attention. It's needed because how we're able to assert more of our power across the diaspora, Black Boston, within our subset of marginalizations. And then when we all come together, we got to be organized. We got to communicate. And I think the last thing I'll say here is, Counselor, when things, happened, and even with Sheriff Tompkins, I always get this, you're going to cover, you're going to talk about, you're going to, and my posture has been grace and accountability. And I have to say that was directed towards you, Sheriff Tompkins, whomever, people dealing with life across the board, whatever. But what we've seen exuded from you today is the same exact damn thing. Grace and accountability. And so reciprocity says that will continue to be cyclical for you. And I just really appreciate. I thought I've got a sense and known you, but you don't sit 3 hours on a call like this and learn and get to peek into people's purview around policy and approaches and why they stand where they stand and what they stand on without having a whole different appreciation for them as an individual. So I'm pooped. And again, for me, it's the end. When I leave these conversations tired, I'm like, oh yeah, that because it so much education, so much grace, a whole lot of accountability, in this space today. And so, Tanya, I truly, truly thank you for being with us today, and all that you've established and set a foundation for. And as you shared, you feel that the best person to continue that is Saeed. And so, anything.
Saeed Abdi Kareem, number one.
You see, I haven't even tried to butcher his last name. Help me.
So it's Abdi Kareem.
That's it.
Abdi Kareem.
Oh, Abdi Kareem. And hold on. Joanne Edwards from Thumbprint Realty is in the room. We were just talking about real estate stuff, Joanne. I'm sure you know Alex and Joanne. They got that woman in her house to own a house, and with her Section 8 thing, she has a 0 mortgage payment for 15 years. Where they do that at?
Wow. Shout out to Thumbprint. They're awesome.
Listen, they do.
Yeah, no, they're awesome. Shout out to James from Thumbprint. Great guy. I don't know if he's still with them, but Thumbprint is doing great things. Go ahead, Black people shine. I love it.
That is, and Alex is one of the, I think he's number one in the state. All right. So I learned how to say, hold on, let me go back. Ooh. Hola.
Ola?
No, I was trying to say. You just low key.
How to say God in Arabic?
Yes.
You
said, oh, did I sound that bad? You said hola.
I was like, wait, Spanish?
Tommy, that ain't right. Help me again.
Okay. It's Allah.
Allah.
So 2 L's.
Two L's. You said that, and I'm trying to remember. They want me to do a whole show, and I mean, God's name and people's names is very different, but they joke about me. They want me to do a whole show where they give me a list of names and things to pronounce, and they just want to sit there and laugh.
That's not God's name. That's not God's name.
Come on here and teach.
That means God.
That means God.
Yes.
And his name, you get into Elohim.
We don't do names.
And yes, because some believe that his name is not, it cannot even worthy to be spoke.
Right.
So,
we say we don't know.
All right, now we're going to get into a whole
see?
lesson.
People be like, I know y'all call him Allah, and it's like, no, that's just the Arabic term that means the one true God.
We learned a lot today because of the growing
up. We have attributes. We have the most merciful, the most gracious, right?
Yep.
But we have 99 attributes, but we do not name God. And yes, Jesus is the Messiah, peace be upon him, and we believe in his return. Like, there is so much to Islam.
Let's get off of here, because now I'm going to have to bring you on here with Bishop
All right.
Moles. And oh my God, you can't do. How are you going to try to catch a preach and then drop?
Yes, there's so much about Islam that people don't know. We believe in all the prophets. We believe in Joseph and Moses
and he coming
and Noah.
Oh, I know that, but when you said Jesus the Messiah and he's coming to get all right, Tanya, get off my screen. We literally, it is 1 o'clock on the dot. Oh my God.
I thank you so much for, I know you're going to give me time to close, but
oh yes, go ahead.
From my heart, I thank you so much for this conversation. I originally just wanted to come and say I'm endorsing this person, and I once again wholeheartedly, please vote for Saeed Abdi Karim. I do believe that he is the man for the job, and I'll be at your doors. I'll be calling you. Please support the campaign, and I believe that he will continue the legacy. And has agreed to work with the advisory council and further all of the work for D7. And I wish the best for D7. I'm not, I'm here with you for Councilor Mejia, Councilor Laurel, Councilor Jen too, no matter her. I am here for you. I'm not going anywhere. I will be, again, it's all sisterly love. I will be here. I'm not going, I'm not far away if you need my support. Constituents, send me an email, Tania for Boston, if you have any questions. Happy to answer them. That's Tania, TANIA for Boston @gmail.com. Any questions at all? Like I'm happy to answer emails anytime, that. As far as you, James, I absolutely enjoy your conversation. I think that you don't get enough credit for your brilliance. I do think that we have like a lot of controversies, and I'm just going to call it out, right? We have a lot of controversies. We have our past, we have our shits, we have our beauty, we have the stuff that smells good and the stuff that we don't want nobody to know. We all have sin, we all have bad, we have good. But what we have to do is understand that our journey is relative to our own personal development, and we should not judge. And I don't like the ugliness of judging you and people having to say, like, call out, like, when you did this, when you did that. It's politics, people. James is Wu leaning, as he puts it. I disagree with Wu's policies. And have a lot of issues with her lack of prioritizing Black economy.
Oh, and don't sleep. It is not 100%.
And it's not. It's still accountability. And
yes,
it's still accountability.
It's just on here now instead of cussing on social media.
Exactly. Yes, and so I want to say to you that in observing you, and there's a few of you that I really like. And I know, listen, they all come from different sides, right? Like, I love Joe DePina. I love James Hills. I also love Danielle Hot Sauce. Like, I just love people.
We were just texting here.
Yeah. I love people, and I think that everybody has their beauty and their brilliance. But James, you, my dear, have like this ability to be able to think of the unknown. When you're interviewing, your questions come from a perspective that people are not really expecting or thinking of. And that's what makes you an amazing interviewer. And I really appreciate conversations with you. You've never been disrespectful, ever. And it's not because counselor or whatever, even when I was running, you were so kind. Even when I was like, in the underground scene, I've seen you. Okay, because I used to make gowns for the girls. And I absolutely think that we all have our kinks and we all have our stuff that we're like, and again, no pun intended, people, we're not getting nasty here. We all have our stuff, but James, you've always been so kind. And I tell people that all the time. A person will say, I don't like it. Well, I think he's nice, and so that's what I believe in you. I'm saying that on your show. I will say that on somebody else's show. And I don't like when people are talking about you're not giving you flowers. You're brilliant. Keep up the work. I wish you all the success.
It is definitely ditto, Tanya. And I sat here and tried to, you got me. got me good because I invoked some emotions from the mayor the other day and you, and I'm sitting here trying not to turn beet red. But it is appreciated. I'm doing better at accepting flowers. And so, Tanya, thank you for that. And just everything. Just it's just been an amazing conversation to really get to know who you are beyond the noise. Shout out to the wonderful article over at Boston Magazine. But yes, we have to give them because I love how they
so
presented very balanced, and we got friends over. Well, yeah, we got friends over at Boston Magazine. And let me just correct that because people will take and run with that. That's why he's on the list. No, because of being on the list, we've got to know people from the events anyway. But
you got to give them the plug. Boston Globe now owns them, but
Boston Globe does now own them. And I won't tell you what happened with the Boston Globe ownership and how I saved a multi-million-dollar black diamond, literally, that I thought was going to go in my pocket. I was like, well, this is about to go home and be turned into a brooch. Somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, excuse me. Anyway, we'll talk about that offline. It is important to recognize that these type of conversations as you started to talk about black media, Danielle, the Banner, myself, Marv, Courtney Boston from Woke Women Radio.
Marv, I love Marv.
Yes.
What's the other guy's name? The one on Twitter with the afro. Oh gosh, blog something blog.
Who? Don't.
No.
Anya.
I love people. I don't know.
The VOG man?
Yeah, is he bad?
Remember when you said when you don't like people talking about me?
But listen,
add him to the
said
list.
I worked with the Teleman and that I was conspiring with Lady Gaga to bring the lesbians to Boston. And I took him out for lunch.
See, that's that. So getting back to the only certain ones of us can have.
VOG loves me. He's so nice to me.
I'm a sock puppet, according to him, for Mayor Wu.
Well, he has to say enticing stuff.
So anyway, I appreciate you because no one outside of the people that I just named would have been able to tell and ask the questions and tell the stories of our Black community. So I appreciate that because the Boston Magazine and all these other outlets do well. But it's us who understands the journey, the struggle, and the stories. And it should be
y'all gotta tap into that Tyler Perry money. You gotta go tap into Atlanta money.
I know something big is coming this year.
Yeah.
I just don't know what or who. But I really, we're gonna have to debrief.
And this is what I mean about the Black economy not being properly supported. You might get a little grant here and there, but you're not actually being put on and put up. So while people say puppets or not, because maybe, the city has supported you on some levels, but it's not that's not the reason. Maybe you agree. Maybe the two is not exclusive. Like maybe you do agree and you also have been supported. But again, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, there's not enough support. There's not enough economic drivers for Black anything in Boston.
Can I just say in one clarity thing, since so many people are watching, and thank you for bringing that up. I have got, because I might get in trouble. You just know that people have the ability to do the Freedom of Information Act, the FOIA. That was employed to inquire if there was formal.
If you got any grant?
Not even, but the thing, let me just say this. Tanya, I got grants that has nothing to do with the show. I got grants to run a summer program with young people for COVID. And
people could say
it was work. It's not a flat grant.
People could say that's work, that's bread, that fed your family. And so either way, I don't think you have to justify. I don't think you go to the victim and say, and blame the victim or shame the victim. I don't think you say to the person that needs a job and needs bread and needs to feed their family, like, you're only doing this because you were fed, because you took care of your family. I think that's an unfair thing to say, especially from our own. Let's give each other grace and let's look at the system and, the folks that are benefiting from all of this and say, and then fight them, organize and fight them. Like, we're not There's no point in us doing this. Oh, he's a sock puppet. Oh, but be quiet. At some point, you were a puppet for something, because desperation again calls for mercy. And when you are in a situation where you have to feed your family, you make these decisions or whatever. And that is not, by the way, okay, full disclaimer, this has nothing to do with my case. That was not the situation for me. But I'm saying, when you are in a situation where you are getting a job or something from the city, you're not like, okay, you are in a situation. That's not who you point fingers. Go talk to the system itself, the administration, Mayor Wu. You may think you have good intentions, and you can only give some Black people jobs or whatever, but there are different policy solutions and ways, economic drivers, that you can actually support us in a real way.
Everybody.
And what you are doing is you are propelling this divide and conquer model, because you are now putting some people up a little tiny bit, and then you're thinking to yourself, that can't be why I support her, because shoot, I'm not rich. I'm not running around here in Rolls Royce and all this money. Like, it's not even enough for you to be campaigning for her. So I resent that, and I think that we are too harsh with each other. I think we should be graceful with each other and give Black people more grace. We've been through too much. Like, why are we doing that to each other?
It goes back to the point of grace and accountability, Tanya. And, I believe, and, I've been a little critical about, people should get, paid for their intellectual property and for work that they do. And so that is balanced across the board. But we'll end with this.
We'll see. Sorry, real quick. You see people with money, with jobs from the governor, that they went on and got jobs like leading nonprofits and from the governor, but you don't see them saying to themselves, like, you're working for Healy. But I've seen that very person talking about you. And so it's not okay.
Tanya, get off my screen. I love you. Because I know how. No, Tanya, I love you.
Not okay.
I know it's not okay.
So give grace.
Again, my
give grace to yourself, and give grace to each other.
Yes, ma'am.
And just shut up, because everybody is surviving.
Tanya,
but hold the system accountable for tokenizing us and dividing and conquering us.
Yes, ma'am. Get because if I find out that, and there's another side, that there was an old Jimmy. Y'all see this new fine Jimmy. But I love you, because no, ain't no way in the world. Oh, Tanya, I love you. I appreciate you. And today was 3 hours and 13 minutes. I think this was.
I read everything. I see everything. I just don't say anything.
Thank you. Still, no.
Like it.
Get the.
That was my favorite. Paul Mooney. We need Paul Mooney back. But anyway.
Who's Paul Mooney? Paul Mooney McCoy, or who's Paul Mooney?
What? Go. Everybody in the comments, please beat up James for saying that.
Who is Paul
Listen.
Mooney? Can you help me? Oh, Jesus.
Negro Adamus.
Negro.
From Dave Chappelle's skit.
I don't want so.
Paul Mooney, the comedian, the artist. He passed away.
No, the dude that did the did he do the voice of his aunt and them that had
Nostradamus, but Negro Damus?
I know Negro Damus, but Tanya, see, I should have let you got off of here 2 seconds ago. Now I'm leaving embarrassed.
Now I'm tired. All right. I'm sorry.
No, we're leaving in joy. This has been one of the best 3 hour and 14-minute blocks of my life.
Oh my gosh.
I think you did Java history. I don't think we've ever.
Oh, great. That's awesome.
No. Election campaign coverage, and when Michelle was in DC. That
okay.
That's different, but a single guest. Yeah, I think you made a herstory today in the Java Cafe. Thank you, Tanya. I love you much, and be strengthened, being encouraged, and we appreciate you. Thank you.
Bye, folks, everyone. Thank you for watching.
Yes, ma'am. Folks, I hope you learned something today, not only about Tanya, but about policy, and just who she was. To her point, first of all, to hear her publicly address what I've been aware of, get screenshots about, know who some of the people are. Some have been addressed. Some I don't even allow to even have access to me. All of that can be said, but one thing that I stand confident in is that this platform allows people like Tanya, like the mayor, like others, like everyday community residents to come in and just let their hair down and be a human. And first of all, her humanity is filled with so much. Um, it is 1:15. Union Capital members, y'all get 3.5 hours today because it's after 1. I'm exhausted. I learned a lot. I was challenged. I was inspired. And hopefully you all were of those 3 as well. Yes, Ma, I am going to go eat and drink. First of all, the fact that Pastor Sharon knows who Paul Mooney was is okay. Love you too, Pam. Definitely Tashad. Whatever. Who is this LinkedIn user that they need to reveal himself, calling me out? The comedian. I gotta go look him up. Okay. Is Paul? Let me go look real quick because I'm terrible at names. People will get ready to leave an event with me, and I'll say, "Nice meeting you," and they'll look, "Oh, him." I don't know. I got to be honest with you. I probably don't know his name because it's something about him just, I don't know what it was. Something about him just, he never, But do y'all say he passed? I'm sorry. Let's honor the legacy and life of Paul Mooney, the comedian. Great show today. Hi, Janky. Tania Fernandes Anderson, thank you for sharing with us, praying for you. Okay. You were lucky to have the day off today, Nisi, and enjoy the whole 3 hours and 15 minutes. So, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., the co-executive producer of the For the Culture Week, which is featuring the HBCU football game on Saturday, the marching bands, all the Black stuff that's going on in Boston this week, I consider the mayor and Shagun Idowu the co-executive producers because they're footing a lot of the bill, along with others, for the city sponsors stuff. Shagun Idowu will be with us tomorrow at 10 a.m. Okay? So, and I can more than likely tell you now that unless I get, let me just check my email because the only reason we there may be a show on Friday or at noon someday this week. We may have a celebrity on later on this week. So as of right now, Shagun tomorrow at 10. I'll let you, hopefully I'll know by tomorrow if we're going to do anything on Thursday afternoon or tomorrow afternoon. They may jump on the show tomorrow or Thursday or Friday. I left it open. I said, here, whatever works for you, we'll make it happen. And then they said, well, we can come in the studio. I said, huh? So just stay tuned. We might have a celebrity on this week. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. with Shagun Idowu. Have a great day, everybody.